Good afternoon. It's Caleb again here with Indiana Weather Online, Indiana Storm Chasing Network, and we are back as we have another severe thunderstorm warning that was just issued by the National Weather Service in Indianapolis, Indiana. This is for quarter-size hail is a going hazard here with this storm. Winds are not quite severe criteria, but they are close at 50 miles per hour. For severe, we need 58 or greater. This is for northern Martin County in southwestern Indiana, western Lawrence County in south central Indiana, southeastern Greene County, as well as east central Davis County in southwestern Indiana, and this is until for 51 minutes here is when this warning is set to expire. Again, quarter-size hail, 50-mile-per-hour winds is the going hazard here until 4:45 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Here's a zoomed-in look at it here. Right here, just north of the town of Lagodi here, is where this storm is currently at, but we also have some other storms in the near vicinity here that are strong, but they are sub-severe at this point in time. Over here near Bicknell, we have a strong thunderstorm here capable of producing 40-mile-per-hour winds and penny-size hail, which is 0.75, so a little bit below severe criteria here. Well, we don't have to go very far west before we see another storm complex working its way towards Indiana, with a very potent gust front here on the leading edge. You can see those bright greens there, almost turquoise blues. Those are wind gusts in excess of 60 miles per hour and penny-sized hail moving towards the Posey County, Indiana area and areas in the general vicinity. But for right now, we have one severe thunderstorm warning here for hail. Not a very large storm, pretty small storm in terms of square miles and coverage here. This is going to be moving northeast here. Out of the Lagodi area, north of Shoals. If I zoom in here, moving into the Dover Hill area, just to the east of Burn City, towards Silverville. Quarter-size hail and perhaps some winds to 50 miles per hour associated with that. If we turn on our hail tracker here, which is our VIL, it's a tool that we use to look at updraft intensity. Gives us a good idea on what the hailstones are doing here. Here's your hail core right in here, just outside of Lagodi. Lagodi, the storm is actually just here north, crossing US 231 right now. It's going to move just to the north of Dover Hill for the more intense hail core, right in there where you see the purples, and even some darker grays, even some blacks in there. That's indicative of where your strongest core is here. Only a couple miles wide, only about 3 miles wide here for this hail core. Not very wide at all. A very narrow storm here, less than 3 miles wide actually, as it moves off to the north and northeast at, looks like... it is moving 25 miles an hour, so it's a very slow mover here. Could have some heavy rainfall rates associated with it too. Some minor ponding is going on here as we have some torrential rainfall with this thunderstorm here. With all of these thunderstorms, moisture profiles are high today across central and southern Indiana. So could have rainfall rates in excess of 1.5 inches here associated with this. Here in about 30 minutes or so, it'll work its way towards the Bedford area. Not moving very fast, only moving at 25 miles an hour to the east-northeast here for this cell. Quarter-size hail and 50-mile-per-hour winds are the going hazards here. This is in effect until 4:45 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, or expires here in 48 minutes, whichever comes first. And as we turn on another tool here that we're going to use here to look to see if we can see what's called a hail spike or a scatter spike. Kind of hard to tell on these smaller cells. You really need a really big cell to really get it to show up really nicely. Perhaps maybe a little bit right here, but really hard to tell. But this storm, in its own sense, is actually what we call a supercell. You can kind of see how it has a little bit of a hook on it here, and that's because there's some rotation aloft. Not near at the surface, nothing tornadic, but when you get tilted updrafts and we get them rotating a little bit, that helps prolong the life of the storm. It can also help produce some hail, and that's exactly what we see here. As we move off to the west here, we don't have to go very far. We have a new severe thunderstorm warning that was just issued here by the National Weather Service in Indianapolis. I'm going to turn on our hail tracker again, and I'm guessing that's what this storm is warned for as well. Quarter-size hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds, so a little bit stronger winds here associated with the storm. This will be, I believe, for Knox County and Davis County as well as Greene County. And let's go ahead and read this here. Northwestern Knox County, Martin County, Greene County, and Davis County until 4:45 p.m. So 60 and quarters, this is our baseline for a severe thunderstorm Once we start intensifying, then we can work our way up in the levels of a severe thunderstorm warning. 70-mile-per-hour winds equals a considerable warning. 80-mile-per-hour winds for destructive warning. We had some considerable warnings earlier across central and east central Indiana. That line that came through earlier today is way over here in eastern Ohio, moving into Pennsylvania. Very fast-moving line. Not wasting any time as it's progressing across the state of Ohio, but now we have round 2 that's moving into Indiana here as we speak. First and foremost, though, we have a couple cells here producing some hail across southwest lower Indiana. This first cell here in effect for another 46 minutes here for this severe thunderstorm warning. In effect for northern Martin County in southwestern Indiana, Lawrence County, Greene County, and Davies County until 4:45 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. The storm is moving northeast at 25 miles an hour. Quarter-size hail or 1-inch diameter hail. Torrential rainfall and a lot of lightning is also occurring here within these storms. These are very electric storms, very heavy storms as well, very heavy rainfall associated with these storms too. So probably could have some urban ponding perhaps if you live in town or have any leaves or anything or debris over your street drains. Could have some ponding here with these as well. The storm just off to the west here. This is for Knox, Martin, Greene, and Davies County as well. Just a little bit to the west, a few miles to the west. Quarter-size hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds here are the going hazards here with this storm. And this storm is also moving northeast at 25 miles an hour. So moving pretty slow here, but we don't have to go very far when we have a little bit more of a significant severe weather that could be moving into southern Indiana here shortly. Quite a heavy gust front here moving along and south of the I-64 corridor here. This is moving north-northeast towards Posey, Gibson, and Knox counties here probably in the next few minutes here. And in fact, we have our newest severe thunderstorm warning to include Posey County, Indiana now. This does not include Gibson or Vanderburgh County yet. This is for 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, radar indicated. This is associated with our next complex of storms. This is called an MCS, or Mesoscale Convective System. This is the same type of system that moved through Indiana earlier today. This is the second one of those. Usually these are really pronounced to be wind makers. These are really known for their damaging winds and perhaps some small hail. Can't rule out a spin-up tornado, though, along the leading edge of this, as we have some embedded, what we call mesovortices on the leading edge that can spin up tornadoes on the leading edge. The tornado risk is relatively low. Not super high today, but not zero. Would not be surprised to see some embedded areas of rotation or perhaps 1 or 2 tornado warnings associated with the storm complex as it works its way across southern Indiana. For right now, damaging winds, primary threat, hail secondary, and then thirdly, a low-end tornado threat can't be ruled out with those spin-ups. For right now, the storms that are immediate hazard to Indiana are in Indiana. We have a couple supercells. Supercells meaning they do have rotating updrafts. They do have a mesocyclone. That is a term for a rotating updraft within a thunderstorm. Now, these rotating supercells are not a threat for tornadoes. Not all supercells that rotate are tornado makers. These have broad rotation, meaning they're slowly rotating, but aloft, higher above the ground, and do not have that rotation near the ground. This is really a good recipe for hail, and that is what we have here in these storms. So you can see how they kind of have a little bit of a hook on them, but that's not always an indication of a tornado. Only about less than 5% of rotating thunderstorms actually produce tornadoes, so very low. These are producing hail. Quarter-size hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds here are the going hazards here, and this is for extreme, actually. Really, Knox County is almost out of the risk for this storm here, solely into Davies County right now, and then this storm over here is fully into Martin County now, getting ready to move into Lawrence County towards Bedford, and then this storm will work its way through northern Davies County and into southern Greene County here in the next 20 minutes or so. Quarter-size hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds, and all of this is heading east, south of Indianapolis, along pretty close to the same path or areas just south that saw the storm complex already today is where this is tracking now. So a lot of the same areas that saw rain and thunderstorms earlier today, we'll be getting a second dose of rain and thunderstorms here this afternoon into early evening. The good news is, though, after this main complex moves out, we're largely done for the day. We have a little bit of a break here before another round of rain perhaps comes in tomorrow. We'll have to watch for some thunderstorms across southern Indiana tomorrow, and then perhaps some active weather again on Thursday. But for right now, we're going to focus on the severe weather threat at hand now in the current. Nothing immediate for you right now for Brazil, but you could have to watch this next storm complex coming off to the west here. We're going to have to watch that pretty closely to see how close it gets to you guys. You guys are way up here in the north. I would expect the bulk of it to be to your south. But 3 severe thunderstorm warnings in the state of Indiana at this time. The 2 of immediate concern are these 2 up in here. Currently, the storms are in Daviess County and Martins County. This one to the west here, the western cell, moving right along the I-69 corridor here. In fact, the main core is going to be traveling in and across I-69 here from Daviess County into Greene County, Indiana. And this storm here that has moved fully into Martin County, you can see the warning has been trimmed back out of Daviess County here. So just Martin County, and then also into Lawrence County, northwestern and western Lawrence County, in a severe thunderstorm warning to include Bedford, US 50 corridor here for quarter-size hail, and 50-mile-per-hour winds on this cell here. A little bit to the west here, we have a little bit of a stronger cell here. This is going to be moving into Greene County out of Daviess County, moving northeast at 25 miles an hour over the I-69 corridor, just south of Bloomfield, if not towards Bloomfield. Quarter-size hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds is a going hazard here for these 2. Special weather statement a little bit further west near the state line here for 50-mile-per-hour winds, nickel-size hail. Nickel-size hail is 0.88 in diameter. For that to be severe criteria, we need 1 inch, 1.0 inches, or quarter-size hail for that to be a severe thunderstorm criteria. We're going to have to watch a lot of these pop-ups here on the leading edge for producing hail here early this afternoon. As we go further south here, we're going to have to watch this big complex, this big apex that'll be moving into southern Indiana. Think Posey County, Gibson County, Knox County, Pike, Vanderburgh, Warwick, and Daviess. Once again, we're going to have to keep an eye on you as the storm complex moves into southern Indiana here over the next 20 minutes or so. Posey County is currently in a severe thunderstorm warning for 60-mile-per-hour winds. And this storm has a history of producing 60-mile-per-hour winds in our neighboring state of Illinois. Strongest winds right now from an apex from Mount Vernon, Illinois, over to about the McLeansboro, Illinois area, and US 45. Coming in the Mill Shoals here, Fairfield, Albion, Illinois, and Carmi, Illinois, on its way towards Indiana. You can see your brighter reflectivity here. That's indicative of your strongest winds, with the strongest winds sitting right in here in the top apex portion of this bow echo here in eastern Illinois, just south of Wayne City, Mill Shoals, Fairfield, so about a county away from reaching the Indiana state line and crossing the Wabash River. Currently, as we move a little bit further to the north here, I don't like that radar. We're going to go back to this radar. I don't like that either. Velocities are wonky. That's okay. We'll go. Look at hail. Hail's the biggest threat anyway with these. All right, we have 2 severe thunderstorm warnings still in effect here. This is for Daviess County and Greene County, and this is for Martin County and Lawrence County, southwest Indiana. Quarter-size hail, 50-mile-per-hour winds for the eastern cell here, moving towards Bedford, and 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-size hail for the western cell, moving right along I-69, eventually working its way perhaps maybe towards Bloomington if the storms are able to hold out and make it that far. That is where these storms will be heading. Elsewhere across Indiana, not really a whole lot going on. Areas north of Fort Wayne, you can see the cold front situated right here from Detroit. Draw a line from Detroit all the way to Logansport. That's our cold front sitting right in here, moving into Allen County, Wells County, Jay County, eastern Howard County, and then down towards Urbana, Illinois. And that cold front is sparking off a few showers and thunderstorms. Behind the cold front, your risk of rain and thunderstorms are over. So that's some good news. As soon as the cold front moves through, we are done. Northwest Indiana from Fort Wayne, Logan's Point, and points northwestward. No more rain for you today. You guys are done. That is not the case across southern Indiana. we still have another heavy complex of storms to get through, and this one here is quite juicy in nature. A lot of moisture to work with today in Indiana. Currently, though, we have 2 hail makers we need to talk about, and actually more than 2. This one might go warned here pretty soon, too, and that would be moving into Sullivan County and Knox County. If we were to see a severe thunderstorm warning on that one, we're getting pretty close on criteria here for that one. These 2 that are warned, however, the western cell moving into southern Greene County is warned for quarter-size hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. And this hail core here, I could see some big-time travel issues here on I-69, as we have a lot of motorists who are going to be traveling in that vicinity here. Have some rock cuts in this vicinity too, if I'm not mistaken. Could have a lot of ponding, excess runoff in this location as well, and reduced visibility. A lot of spray on the highway as well could reduce visibility for those caught in the storm driving on I-69 north or southbound here between Washington, Indiana, and Bloomington. This stretch of highway here, especially right in here between the Elnora area. Very heavy rain here for motorists on I-69. So do keep that in mind for those who are traveling there. Just off to the east here, our secondary cell that we have here, this is warned for quarter-size hail. In quarter-size hail only, winds are below severe criteria at 50 miles an hour. This is going to be moving out of Martin County and into, excuse me, out of Martin County and into Lawrence County here towards the Bedford area and along US 50 here shortly. This storm is only warned for hail, but we have a lot of little pop-up storms here from Greenwood, Bloomington, Columbus, Indiana, and over towards the Terre Haute area as well. All of those are capable of producing some small hail as well. They're just below severe criteria at this point in time. Going back to the west here, here comes our bow echo here. Currently, Posey County is in a severe thunderstorm warning for another 30 minutes here. Notice on this one, though, we do have a tornado possible tag on it, meaning there are indications of some broad rotation on the leading edge of this line. We call those mesovortices. Those are quick little spin-ups, oftentimes very shallow, oftentimes very hard to depict on radar. In fact, let me show you one, kind of what it looks like. This one right in here. This is an area of rotation, which we could see a tornado warning on it, actually, near Fairfield. Actually, we went severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible tag on it. So the National Weather Service may not have quite enough confidence on a tornado yet. This is what we call a bookend vortex, some backside rotation on the top side of that apex, where you have winds rolling out and some winds being pulled in above it. You can get that rotation, and that is what we see right in there. So again, a couple of spin-up tornadoes are possible with this line, and this goes right up to the Wabash River here. It does not include Gibson and Knox counties yet. However, I would expect to see a severe thunderstorm warning extended into Knox and Gibson counties here, probably in the next 15 to 20 minutes or so, as long as this line maintains its severity, meaning it has to be above 58-mile-per-hour winds to meet the severe criteria, or quarter-size hail, which is 1-inch diameter or greater. A tornado also makes a storm severe for obvious reasons, I think. So, but something else to talk about, we also have a hydrologic side to talk about. You may think, hydrologic, what is that? We have a flooding aspect to talk about. We have lots of flash flood warnings showing up here across Illinois. Several inches of rain have fallen here, especially from these training showers and thunderstorms. I would expect some flood advisories to be issued by the National Weather Service along this corridor right in here from Bedford to Robinson. This corridor of heavy showers and thunderstorms are producing just torrential rainfall, and these storms aren't going anywhere. They're only moving northeast at 25 miles per hour. That's fairly slow for a thunderstorm. And when you get these back-building storms that move very, very slowly with rainfall rates over 1 inch an hour, some areas are going to see excessive rainfall, ponding, which is another reason why I'm very concerned for motorists here on I-69. Not a very large corridor, but a very narrow corridor here along I-69 near the Elnora, Indiana. And Elnora would be in northern Davies County and southern Greene County here, just northwest of Owensburg here. Torrential rainfall here for motorists on I-69, so do be cautious if you're traveling southbound on I-69, not only for these storms, but the storms to come. This area has seen a lot of rainfall earlier, and we have more rainfall to come. And here is our tornado warning, indicating that rotation that we talked about earlier. We have a tornado warning on it now radar indicated rotation for Wayne County, Illinois, and that is for until 3:45 p.m. Central Time, moving northeast at 45 miles an hour. So, again, a couple of spin-up tornadoes can't be ruled out with this line of storms as it moves into Indiana. Again, we're still about a county away from the Wabash River. Here's the Wabash River right there, Mount Carmel. See the little zigzags? Those are the river bends. And here's our storm right over here. You can kind of see what looks like a U almost, or a smiley face, right? On the north side of that is your inflow notch right here, coming just south of State Road 15 here in Wayne County, Illinois. Here's Fairfield. Here's your air being pulled in, and here's your outflow coming out. And right where those two meet, those two air masses collide, that is what we see over here. This is our velocity. We have blues and greens going toward the radar, and then we see a little bit of red there. These are slower winds, so winds of different speed and direction, indicating an area of rotation there. And let's, for kicks and giggles, let's go ahead and turn on a tool to see if there's anything on the ground. I don't see anything on the ground yet. If we were to see something on the ground here, we would actually see a really concentrated area of blues and yellows, like right in here. This is likely just clutter, but if we were to see anything, we'd see a really defined circle of clutters. And what this tool does, this is called correlation coefficient, and we use this tool to look for different objects of size that shouldn't be in the air. This tool is really good for depicting precipitation types in the wintertime, such as sleet versus rain. And it's also really good for looking at hailstones or debris. What that tool is designed to do, raindrops have a very uniform size. A lot of people think they fall as teardrops, but that's actually not true. They fall as pancakes. As the raindrop is falling, they run into air, so they actually flatten. They look like pancakes as they fall, and those pancakes show up violet on correlation, but anything that's not a pancake shows up of different colors. So this is likely just clutter, some distortion in the radar. But when we see other things that are not pancakes in the atmosphere, such as, you know, hailstones that are irregular shape and size and bounce around, objects that bounce around that shouldn't be there will show up as a different color. So that's a tool that we use here to differentiate pancakes from other objects that are not natural in the air. So that is a tool that we use. Good news is I don't see anything that would indicate a tornado on the ground at this point in time. As we go to the north here, we still have 2 severe thunderstorm warnings in effect here for another 30 minutes here. This one here is still for Daviess County and Greene County, quarter size 60-mile-per-hour winds. And this one here moving out of Martin County, or I guess northern Martin County, moving into extreme southeast Greene County, as well as western Lawrence County here, quarter size hail and 50-mile-per-hour winds. Go ahead and turn on our hail tracker here. Here's your hail core right in here. It's actually a little bit behind. Use your imagination, scoot this up to where it's sitting right in here. This would be where your hail core is at this present time. Getting ready to cross into the Silverville area here pretty soon. Burns City, you guys are probably going to be lightening up here pretty soon. But some heavy rain and hail just to the north of State Road 450 here, moving into Silverville. There's your latest update there. There's where your hail core is on that storm. And then we have a pretty long hail core here in northern Daviess County and extreme southern Greene County here in Indiana. You can see I-69 right in here. Again, torrential rainfall. Rainfall rates over an inch an hour here, inch and a half pretty easily here in some of the pinks that you see here. So torrential rainfall is occurring with this storm. So again, wouldn't be surprised to see either a flash flood warning or a flood advisory issued here, where you have these training showers and thunderstorms. You can see the warning got trimmed back there just a little bit, thanks to the storms slowly progressing northward at 25 miles an hour. A tedious 25 miles per hour, might I add. So again, the greatest area for severe weather and thunderstorms today are generally along and south of I-70 here. This is the greatest area for severe weather today, Indianapolis and south for this afternoon for round 2. Those of you north around the Fort Wayne area could have a few isolated showers starting to form here along the immediate cold front. But once that passes, you're done. You're in the clear. So areas Fort Wayne, Logansport, and points northwestward, no more rain's expected for you. You guys are done. A lot of you guys didn't get a lot of rain, and that was a discrete possibility. We really weren't 100% sure how storms were going to evolve out of Illinois last night into Indiana, and fortunately, a lot of them didn't quite make it, which was good. We did, however, have some severe weather earlier today across central Indiana and east central Indiana that did cause quite a bit of damage, and we're going in for round 2 right now. Back south here at our squall line here, go ahead and turn on velocity here to get a look at the winds here associated with this. Here we go. So here's our area of rotation here. We actually have maybe another little couplet, a couple of couplets just to the south here of east of Mill Shoals there. And that's really indicative of these complexes, these apexes, as you have different speeds, winds at different speeds blowing past each other. You have some frictional forces at play. The atmosphere is fluid and behaves as such. The air actually behaves as a liquid. So when you think of it this way, when you put a paddle in like you're paddling a kayak in water and your paddle goes really fast, on the edge of that paddle, you have little swirls in the water. The same thing is happening here in the atmosphere. As the rush of air is coming out forward ahead of your storm complex, you run into air masses of different speeds, and you can have little eddies called mesovortices that spin up along the leading edge of that. And that's really what's going on here in the atmosphere in a nutshell, and why we have oftentimes spin-up tornadoes along these. You have a lot of frictional forces at play in the atmosphere, winds of different speed and direction interacting with each other, creating little swirls. Oftentimes very shallow, short-lived, but they pop up very quickly and they can touch down. So another reason to take these storm complexes seriously. Heavy thunderstorms, though, south of Bloomington. A lot of pop-up showers and thunderstorms as well. But again, I'm really concerned here for the hydrologic outlooks here across this narrow corridor here, stretching from Lawrence County, Greene County, southern Sullivan County, and northern Knox and Davies County for heavy rain. Would not be surprised to see a flash flood advisory, flash flood warning, or a flood advisory here for these counties here, especially right in here. Southern Greene County and extreme northern Davis and Martin County. Torrential rainfall is just dumping right here between Linton, Bloomfield points southward, Crane, Sanborn, Elnora, Owensburg. Just torrential rainfall here is just pounding the areas there, along with quarter-size hail and perhaps 60-mile-per-hour winds. This severe thunderstorm warning coming out of Martin County into Lawrence County has been upgraded. Not for hail, but for wind. It wasn't warned for wind originally, but now it is. It has been upgraded from 50 miles per hour to 60-mile-per-hour winds, and that is radar indicated. Hail damage to vehicles expected. Expect wind damage to roof, siding, and trees is the baseline wording text there within the severe thunderstorm warning. And these storms are still moving east-northeast at 25 miles per hour, a tedious 25 miles per hour at that. Not moving very fast at all. And when you have slow storm motions with heavy rainfall, inch and a quarter, inch and a half rainfall rates per hour, now we start talking about hydrologic issues, hydroplaning, I-69 corridor here running right through here. Again, very heavy traffic. You have spray from other vehicles. How well are your tires equipped to move that water away from the roadway to allow your tire to have traction with that roadway? Once you lose the efficiency to move water away from your tires, that's when you start hydroplaning. You start floating on the water, and that can cause you to lose control and can cause an accident. A very scary and a very dangerous situation. If you do start hydroplaning, take your foot off the accelerator and the brake and just aim your tires in the direction you want to go, just like you're spinning out in snow. Don't touch the accelerator or the brake. Just idle, coast with your tires aimed in the way you want to go, and that should help minimize the risk of crashing to some extent. It can't eliminate it entirely, but it should help you out a little bit until you're able to find some traction again. But again, hydrologic issues here along I-69 here, great concern here for motorists on the freeway. Back south here, our squall line's getting pretty close to Indiana here. We do have some pretty strong winds here that's going to be coming into Posey, Gibson, in Knox County here. Probably in the next upgrade here, we'll see that warning extension. Would not be surprised to see that include perhaps Vanderburgh County as well. May get in on that warning. However, it may be trimmed to the north. Your line south of Carmi is weakening just a little bit on radar, which is good news. That is not the case for the north near Fairfield, Albinon, and north of Carmi. Some brighter velocities here, so brighter greens and blues. Those are some faster winds being picked up by radar, and we actually have maybe another little kink or mesovortice, a couple of them being indicated on radar here. There's your hook for your original kink. It's kind of rain wrapped too. We have another little notch. It's just south of the 15 emblem there. You could have another little spin up there. And even if the rotation isn't making it to the ground, mesovortices can actually enhance straight line winds at the surface as well. That little bit of rotation can help pull down those stronger winds to the ground in the form of straight line winds, even if it's not a tornado. So again, still a dangerous situation no matter how you look at it. It's really a lose-lose situation. You're either going to get really strong straight line winds or perhaps a weak tornado. So again, be in your safe place. Take it seriously if you are in any of these warnings for that squall line as well. The storms up here, flash flooding, hail, and straight line winds, still a gusty or problematic issue here with these storms, stretching from Martin County, Lawrence County, Greene County, and as well as northern Daviess County, as well as Knox County. Knox County has a heavy gully washer there as well. Very heavy rainfall here. And we've been talking about these storms now for almost 20 minutes. And in that 20 minutes of time, they have not moved very far, which is why I am greatly concerned for the hydrologic concern associated with these as well. So watch out for ponding, excessive rainfall rates of over 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches possible in some of the cores there where you see the pinks, purples. The good news is it's not a wide area. It's actually a rather narrow area, only about maybe 15 miles or so. So motorists traveling through here should drive out of it fairly fast. But any motorist here that is listening on the chat or that you know of traveling in this direction, tell them to turn on their headlights, slow down, and proceed with caution through the area until they drive out of these storms. And then there's more storms on the way as well. So another storm to look at here. Go ahead and turn on our hail tracker here. I'm interested in that Seymour cell. We have another pretty cell. There are a lot of these cells. We call these popcorn cells. We have some popcorn updrafts here that kind of bubble up, do their thing. And they're also showing some small hail. This cell here, just outside Martinsville, Morgantown, near the Mooresville area. This is for Morgan County. Have the extreme southeast Morgan County. Maybe some small hail in there. Maybe some nickels in there. Outside Seymour, maybe some pennies in there as well. With a little bit stronger of a cell here in northwest Martin County. Or Lawrence County, rather. I'm sorry. Near State Road 446, just north of US 50, have some small hail. So really any of these thunderstorms here ahead of the main line are capable for gusty winds, torrential rainfall, as well as some small hail up to quarter size as well, possible in any of those pop-up thunderstorms out ahead of the main line. If you're in any of those areas, and if you see anything, see any damage, flooding, or anything like that, let us know. Feel free to report that and let us know. We'd love to see what you see. You guys are very vital to what we do here in terms of eyes on the ground, so we appreciate that. So do let us know what you guys are seeing if you guys are in the path of any of these storms. Love seeing your comments about that in the chat. Julie says, pancakes and popcorn, weather makes me hungry. Indeed, Julie, indeed, it really does. I should really stop using food as analogies, but it just kind of happens, comes naturally, I guess. Still a little bit of rotation here near Fairfield, but the good news is it's broadened out quite a bit. Notice how these brighter colors are running parallel to each other? They're not as tight like a couplet anymore. They're running more linear to each other or sliding right by each other. That's some good news, but we could still have a brief circulation within there as well. We have a new severe thunderstorm warning right up here. Getting pretty close to Vincennes, getting pretty close to Knox County here, just outside of the other side of the Wabash River here. Gonna have to watch that fairly closely as it moves into town. Excuse me. This is warned for 60-mile-per-hour winds, quarter-size hail, and this is for this storm right in here. Based on velocity from what I see here, I think it's more of a hail threat than a wind threat, but nonetheless, could have some wind in here associated with that as well. Go ahead and turn our hail tracker back on here. But before we do that, our strongest gust front here is starting to approach the Wabash River here. This is northern Posey County, western Gibson County, as well as far southern Knox County. We're starting to see the apex of this line of storms entering Indiana here of this complex. The further south you go, it is weakening a little bit. Mount Vernon, south of New Harmony, is not super impressive at the moment, but we're going to have to watch it. It could still re-intensify. But however, the strongest of the cell, think New Harmony and northward, between New Harmony and Fairfield, moving towards Mount Carmel and the Princeton areas here in Indiana, maybe Armstrong if it holds together. This is your strongest portion of the storm right in here, with the strongest actually near Fairfield, moving into Albany, maybe eventually working its way towards Princeton. Nonetheless, torrential rainfall is occurring with these storms, so that's another hazard in of itself. And there's our flash flood warning. Yeah, go ahead, Ryan. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. I have a support team here behind the scenes, and they're talking to me too. His headphones fell off. Anyway, flash flood warning. Flash flood warning for northern Davis County, southern Greene County, Knox County, Martin, and Sullivan County until 7:30 p.m. This goes for another 3 hours here. Between 1 and 2 inches of rain have fallen. Flash flooding is ongoing or expected to begin shortly. So we're talking 1 to 2 inches of rain in 30 minutes. That's how fast it fell. So extremely heavy rainfall rates here, 1 to 2 inches per hour here. And so again, any motorists here on the I-69 corridor here, between Elnora and Cincinnati, Indiana, again, need to be extremely cautious here on the roadways to prevent hydroplaning, to reduce spray on the roads as well. And there's also hail within these storms as well, quarter-size hail, and perhaps maybe some embedded microbursts, some intense downbursts of 60 miles per hour, also possible embedded within the storm. So these storms are very dangerous for motorists due to the fact of their slow storm motion, their torrential rainfall. Motorists are probably driving with their sunglasses on, being sunny outside, to driving into a wall of rain. That is how fast conditions are going to deteriorate. These storms here are moving northeast at 25 miles an hour, fairly slow. This squall line here, this line that'll be moving into Indiana, is moving northeast at 50 miles an hour, so a little bit faster. Oftentimes, these storm complexes do move a little bit faster than your isolated storms. Not always, but a lot of times they do, just because they have the upper level support to do so. They have more drive, more oomph to them to get them moving. Now, if they weaken, sometimes you can see them slow down a little bit too. The southern portion of this cell has weakened a little bit for southern Posey County. However, northern Posey County looks to be pretty close to severe criteria. Right about where the radar beam is here, and points northward towards Fairfield. Very strong winds here near Golden Gate, moving into the Albion, Illinois area. Approaching the Wabash River here. This will be for northern Posey County, western Gibson County. We're also going to have to watch to see if we get a warning for Knox County at all as well. I would expect wouldn't be surprised to see an extension of some sort for Gibson as these storms move across, whether that's a severe thunderstorm warning or a special weather statement, depending on the preference of the National Weather Service and their confidence of these storms actually meeting severe criteria. The further south you go, the less impressive they look on radar, so I wouldn't be surprised to see an SBS in there or a special weather statement for a strong storm. However, this storm right up here between Fairfield and Albion, this definitely meets the criteria for a severe thunderstorm, for winds being indicated over 60 miles an hour possible, as well as a possible tornado. It does have that tornado possible tag in it as well. In fact, both of these do, for that possibility of a spin-up tornado or two. Further to the north, we still have these severe thunderstorm warnings hanging on. This is for Davis County, northern Martin County, western Lawrence County, as well as central and southern Greene County in southwest Indiana. This is for quarter-size hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds on both of these. But within this warning, we have a very large flash flood warning. This is radar indicated, in effect, for another 2 hours and 57 minutes. It takes that long for water to drain, and that flash flood warning may even be extended if more rainfall continues to fall. This is for 1 to 2 inches of rain that have already fallen here in the warned area And some of this rainfall has fallen in less than an hour. So extremely heavy rainfall rates, over an inch and a half an hour possible here within these thunderstorms. Again, this is northern Knox County, northern Davies County, Martin County, southern Greene County, southern Sullivan County, and western Lawrence County. And this is until 7:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Or sorry, Lawrence County is not included in the flash flood warning. I apologize. However, they may be added in western Lawrence County if this torrential rainfall continues to fall there outside of Bedford. We are tracking still the storm complex that'll be moving into southern Indiana as we speak. Has shown some signs of a little bit of weakening associated with it too. Hopefully that trend continues. We do have a lot of fuel to work with. The atmosphere was able to refuel itself a little bit ahead of this storm. However, there are some other ingredients that are lacking, which may help us a little bit in terms of widespread severe weather. However, it doesn't completely eliminate the risk. Wind shear being one of those factors. We don't have a lot of wind shear, both speed or directional. So that is going to help mitigate us a little bit, help kind of help put the governor on the engine a little bit, so to speak, as well. So something to keep an eye on. However, this is still a very strong thunderstorm. Don't get me wrong. Take it very seriously here. This is largely still in Illinois, but getting ready to cross the Wabash River here. Here's the Wabash River. Gust front coming in the New Harmony here, approaching the radar station as well. Strongest portion of the storm here near Golden Gate, Illinois. Also have what's called a bookend vortex here, where we could have isolated spin-up tornadoes possible here. Right in here, Fairfield, Albion had a tornado warning on it earlier. That has since broadened, and it looks more like a straight line wind risk to me on radar. However, the National Weather Service has left a tornado possible tag on the warning, meaning the rotation has not met the criteria for a tornado warning. But spin-up tornadoes are possible, and it is something they're looking for on the radar within this storm. So do treat this as a tornado warning as a precaution. This storm will be moving into Gibson County and southern Knox County here, probably here fairly soon, within the next 20 minutes or so. We don't have a warning extension yet for Gibson or Knox, but that may be coming soon, depending on the preference of the National Weather Service. Out ahead of the main line, though, we have lots of popcorn cells, lots of pop-up showers and thunderstorms all across central Indiana, and I thought I heard thunder a little bit ago, and that would be why. Here's our cold front right in here, draped from Detroit, Toledo, through Decatur, Bluffton, all the way down to about Fishers, Indiana. This is where our cold front is. Right in here, these showers and storms are firing along the cold front, and areas on the northwest side of the cold front are done. Your severe weather risk is done for the day. Your rainfall risk, pretty much done for the day. A lot of areas across northwest Indiana actually never saw a drop of rain, or at least not much. And a lot of that was due to the timing of the cold front and the lack of storm ingredients last night. You needed to maintain storms out of Illinois to get them here. We just didn't have that across northwest Indiana, and it was conditional to begin with. And we tried to word it in a way that communicated such a risk that it's possible, but might not happen either. And fortunately, it didn't happen up there. That has not been the case across central and southern Indiana today. This is round 2 of 2 here today. Still have some severe thunderstorm warnings here for northern Davies County, Martin County, southern Greene County, and western Lawrence County. We may see an extension here into southern Monroe County here as these storms are creeping their way along at a whopping 25 miles an hour, and they may be moving slower than that. These storms are not moving fast at all. I would not be surprised to see them drop the forward motion down to 15 miles an hour. They're just back building and not moving fast at all. So I would not be surprised to see them slow that storm motion down on the warning text. As we turn our hail tracker on, main risk this afternoon has been hail and these storms that have been popping out ahead of it. And here you can see 2 large hail cores here, a decent hail core right in here over Crane, and then south of Owensburg here in Martin County, and far northeastern Davies County here. Right where you see the blacks, where those lightning bolts are, that's a really good indication of what we call a hail core. And if we turn on our correlation coefficient, those of you that were with me a little bit ago, I explained this in the way that rain shows up as pink. That's the raindrops being reflected by this product, how they look like pancakes on the radar. And then anything that's not a pancake will show up as a different color. That's the best way to explain it. And right in here, this is what we call a scatter spike, or a TBSS for an abbreviation. But right here, that's your hail core, just south of Owensburg here. Your updraft always appears much larger on radar a lot of times than what your actual hail core does as well. So everything that you see here in pink, that's our pancakes, that's our raindrops falling. Raindrops, although drawn in a tear shape, will actually appear like a pancake in the air. Due to the air that they're falling into, you have pressure going down, pressure going up, and that condenses the raindrops into pancakes. And but hailstones, as we know, are round in different sizes and bounce around and fall at different rates. Those are not pancakes. Think of it as Skittles. So we have pancakes and Skittles. The Skittles are falling right here in different colors, and those are our hailstones here in quarters. And this is moving off to the north at about 20-25 miles an hour. So Owensburg could get some quarter-size hail, and we'll be moving towards, ironically enough, popcorn. It'll be moving towards popcorn. But the hailstones will probably be a little bit larger than popcorn as they reach popcorn. I love it how towns like that just fall into place when I'm already talking about food. It's awesome. But anyway, this hail core will be moving into extreme southeast Greene County, as well as northwest Lawrence County here, probably in the next 10 to 15 minutes or so, as this storm continues. And as we go back south here, let's go ahead and talk about our gust front that'll be moving in. A pretty decent gust front here moving in. We don't have a severe thunderstorm warning yet for Gibson County, or a special weather statement. I'm actually kind of surprised we don't have either. More surprised that we don't have a special weather statement of the two. But probably getting pretty gusty in New Harmony, Mount Vernon, coming into Mount Carmel here pretty soon as well. A couple hundred feet off the ground. Winds here are about 50 miles an hour, a couple hundred feet off the ground. So probably seeing gusts of about 40, 45 on the surface. Maybe a few instances of maybe a little bit stronger than that. The strongest winds are actually back to the west on the northern side of this line here near Albion, coming near Mount Carmel. There you have some winds closer to the severe criteria, right around 60 miles per hour, as this line progresses into Indiana. We're going to have to keep an eye on this. Although right now it is showing signs of weakening, it could re-intensify. We do have a severe thunderstorm watch in effect until 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time tonight. Across southern Indiana. Kind of see the leading edge of it here. Gonna try to look at something here real quick. Okay. So here's your gust front here. Stretch it from Posey County, southern Posey County, Mount Vernon. And my guess is they're going to let this warning expire. It does expire in 3 minutes, and they have not issued another one with the gust front approaching the edge of the warning box here. But Posey County is still in a severe thunderstorm warning, although it is below severe criteria in Posey County. Maybe some wind gusts to 30 to 40 miles an hour. And I have a camera up right now, just to the north of Posey County, actually in southern Gibson County, and the winds look to be around 30 to 40 miles an hour. So below severe criteria down here, which is good based on what I'm seeing on the live view. But that is not the case up here near Albion. Some pretty strong winds here along State Road 130 here, Bone Gap, Belmont, moving towards Mount Carmel and the White River, where the Wabash and the White come together. Could have some stronger winds moving in your direction here shortly. We'll have to see how strong the storm maintains its severity as it approaches the Wabash River and into Indiana. But the good news is this whole storm complex as a whole is not as impressive as what it was in Illinois. And some of that could be we just don't have all the ingredients. We have a lot of ingredients, but we don't have them all. And it's hard to get long-lived severe weather when you don't have all the ingredients. You can get part of the pie, but you don't get the whole pie. It's kind of like forgetting sugar in your pie. It just doesn't taste very good. When you don't have all the ingredients, it's hard to get widespread severe weather. But we have just enough to support a few sporadic severe thunderstorms here this afternoon. South of Bloomington, though, these storms are still hanging on. Severe thunderstorm warning still in effect for a couple of minutes here for each of these storms. Quarter-size hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds, and torrential rainfall is occurring with these storms. Rainfall rates, 1.5 inches per hour, cannot be ruled out, especially in the pinks here. And motorists traveling along I-69 should be very cautious as there is a flash flood warning in effect for 1 to 2 inches of rain that have already fallen, with another couple of inches of rain possible as well. So very heavy rainfall rates associated with these showers and thunderstorms, as well as the possibility for small hail and gusty winds. Going back down to the south here at our gust front entering Indiana, Mount Carmel right on your doorstep here. Start seeing some gusty winds here associated with this storm. Princeton, probably here in about 5 to 10 minutes or so for you. West Salem, just south of you in Illinois, near Albion, has the strongest winds moving towards Mount Carmel. Mount Carmel probably here in about probably 10 to 15 minutes for you. We'll probably see some rain first before we see the strongest winds, but could have some strong winds approaching your direction from the Albion area. Still indicated on radar right in here. Your gust front extends from Mount Vernon all the way up to the radar here, and then hooks around to the West Salem area. So think West Salem, Mount Carmel, right in here to the edge of the warning box, and Mount Vernon. You can kind of see how it has that bowed out appearance here on the velocities here. You can see those little striations there. Those are those little sporadic wind gusts getting funneled down to the ground in the form of straight line winds. Probably about 35 to 40 miles an hour. We do have a new severe thunderstorm warning now up here for Bedford. This is for a few more counties got added to this as these storms are creeping along to the north. This is for southern Monroe County, northern Martin County, northern Lawrence County, southern Greene County, northwestern Jackson County, northwestern Davis County until 5:30. So another 45 minutes here. This warning got reissued. 60-mile-per-hour winds and penny-size hail. So the hail size has gone down. That's great news. The bad news, some of these stronger cores are bringing down some heavier rain or heavier winds from aloft in the form of heavy, wet downbursts, or even some microbursts are possible within here as well. We call those rain bombs that come down, and they can actually cause quite a bit of damage here. But heavy rainfall is also occurring. Torrential rainfall is occurring with this storm and may lead to flash flooding. Do not leave your vehicles in flooded roadways. So again, very heavy rainfall here is occurring, approaching US 50 here, and especially I-69. I-69 could be very problematic here between the Elnora area, Cincinnati area, and approaching the Bloomington. So anywhere between Bloomington and Elnora could have some very problematic issues with flash flooding and ponding on I-69 northbound and southbound, if you know anybody traveling on the highway in this vicinity in southwest lower Indiana. Again, flash flood warning is in effect for another 2 hours and 43 minutes, and that may get extended both in width and in time if rainfall continues to fall and these storms continue to backbuild and train. So again, a very dangerous situation when it comes to flash flooding. Flash flooding can be very dangerous for motorists on the roadways. And here is our gust front here, coming right over the radar right now, approaching the Princeton, Indiana area in Gibson County. No warning or special weather statement. One gust right now up here, probably close to 45 miles an hour, maybe getting closer to 50 now that we get a better look at it near the radar. Yeah, 55 miles an hour at 100 feet above the ground. We're getting a really good sample here. So we may see a special weather statement, if not a warning here as we get close to that severe criteria, depending on the confidence and preference of the National Weather Service. And we also have some reports of a few isolated power outages coming in down here as well. So these winds are causing some minor damage, some tree limbs blowing down, some power lines galloping. That could lead to isolated power outages as well. So power outages are starting to climb just a little bit as a result of these storms. Not surprising to hear in any gust front situation, especially down here. We have a really wooded area here. A lot of trees, a lot of branches that can come down. Not surprising to see that at all. But very heavy rainfall here is occurring with this storm, with the strongest portion of the storm right up here, just on the other side of the river here, outside the Mount Carmel area. It does have a tornado possible tag in it. There are some embedded areas. For example, this one right here, a little bit of rotation embedded on the leading edge. That could lead to a possible spin-up tornado, although brief, not a high risk, but there is that risk here within this warning here. Has not quite entered Indiana yet, but we do have the main gust front to the south here, moving over the radar right now towards the Princeton area. Evansville getting pretty close to you, could see some gusty winds. Vincennes getting some very heavy rainfall right now, as well as the Bedford area as well. This severe thunderstorm warning is in effect for 41 minutes here. And the storms have picked up speed a little bit, moving east at 40 miles per hour. Sounds like we also have a new severe thunderstorm watch that has been issued downstream. Over towards the Batesville and Richmond area, right over here, now in a severe thunderstorm watch. We do have that uploaded on our pages. If you guys want to know reference for location, feel free to check that out. We do have that updated for you. Elsewhere, though, we have a lot of pop-up thunderstorms starting to pop up here. A lot of these will have heavy rain, small hail associated with them as well. Go ahead and you can see a lot of these cells have embedded hail cores in it. Probably some small hail moving into Bogstown here, just south of Marion County, moving into Shelby County here, I-74. Some areas I saw some heavy rain and severe weather earlier today. Might have some small hail associated with this cell moving into Shelby County. Back down south, our severe thunderstorm warning here. Our main cell right in here, coming into the Guthrie area, Bedford area, getting in on some very, very heavy rain here associated with that. That'll be moving into Lawrence County, as well as southern Monroe County as well, starting to get in on some heavier rain as well. So we may see this flash flood warning get extended east into Monroe County if these rainfall rates continue, so do be aware of that. As we move further south, no severe thunderstorm warning in effect yet, but we have another strong cell here. This one here is for Pike County. No warning on it, our special weather statement. We could have some small hail moving out of Pike into southern Davis County. Could get in on some small hail on this guy here, just to the east of I-69, south of Washington, northwest of Jasper. Probably moving north-northeast, 20 to 30 miles an hour. Has been the going rate for a lot of these cells. And Vincennes is now in a severe thunderstorm warning now. Go ahead and turn on my velocities here to look at the winds here, see what this is rated for. 60 mile per hour winds, penny-size hail. They have dropped a tornado possible tag on it, which is good news. But we do have a severe thunderstorm warning now for Knox County. This is for 53 minutes here. This is just for Knox County. This storm is moving east at 40 miles per hour and is warm solely for 60 mile per hour winds. There is some penny-sized hail associated with it too, probably in the heavier reflectivities here. We did see some of that on our updraft tracker a little while ago. Don't be surprised if you see some small hail in the Vincennes area here in a little bit. Excuse me. And also some decent gusts here in Gibson County as well. I know there's no warning for Gibson County, but probably winds are right around 50 miles an hour here along the leading edge Princeton, US 41, moving towards Oakland City. Could have some gusty winds here associated with this gust front here on the leading edge. The rainfall is not quite as heavy, but still showing signs of a gust front here as it gets sampled here by the radar. You can see those brighter greens there as the gust front moves over between Johnson, Owensville, near McGarry. So we switch radars here back to Indianapolis. Here's ourselves to the north. Very, very heavy rainfall occurring with these. As we move over to eastern Indiana, starting to fill in quite a bit. We have lots of scattered showers and thunderstorms popping up now in this area. Has been included now in a severe thunderstorm watch, just issued by the Storm Prediction Center that has been updated on our page. You guys can go ahead and look at that and get that information there as well. Turn on our hail tracker for some of these, and yeah, we got a lot of little hail cores within a lot of these pop-up showers and thunderstorms. A couple of these showing signs of perhaps some stronger updrafts. This one here moving into Shelbyville. I actually want to look at correlation to see if there's a hail spike. Yeah, maybe a little bit right in there coming into Fairfield. Probably getting maybe some nickel-size hail in there. Anybody from the Fairland area in Shelby County, let me know what you guys see if you guys are from that area. Love to know if you guys are seeing any hailstones, and if you are, what size you are seeing them. And that goes for anybody. If you guys are in any of these showers of thunderstorms and see some hailstones, let us know what you see in relation to a common object, such as quarters, nickels, dimes. Coins are great measuring tools when it comes to hail. Something with a perfect radius that we can match up with or have some relevancy too. Pretty strong hail core here now, moving into out of Pike County in the southern Davies County here, having a decent hail core on it. Let's go ahead and see if there's a hail spike on it. Go ahead and turn on our tool again. Nothing quite as impressive here, probably why there's nothing on it. But we do have a severe thunderstorm warning for Knox County. This is Knox County only. Wouldn't be surprised to see a special weather statement for Gibson County, though. Pretty strong winds here moving into the Princeton area. If you guys are from this area, let me know what you guys are seeing in Gibson County, wind-wise. Gust front crossing US 41 right now. Could have some winds up to 60 miles an hour in Knox County. However, Gibson County is not in a warning here, but we also have two different offices here controlling this area. We have Paducah down here, IWX up here, so they could have different confidence levels in what they see. So do keep that in mind as well. Maybe some smaller pockets of some embedded stronger winds here near the Patoka area, just north of there. Getting right across US 41. Fort Branch, probably getting in on some 50-mile-per-hour winds right about now. Perhaps even maybe a little bit smaller or stronger as well. Isolated gusts mixing in here as we get a really good look here, thanks to being in really close proximity to the radar. What we're seeing here is only about 100 feet off the ground or so. So it's pretty close to the surface. So what we're seeing on radar is likely occurring at or just above the ground. So we get a really good idea of what is going on. As we go a little bit further north here, in very strong cell here outside the Bedford area, producing some torrential rainfall as well as some hail. Nice hail core signature on this, moving towards the Guthrie area. This is in northern northern Martin County, as well as getting ready to go into, northern Lawrence County, moving into southern Monroe County as well. So a very, very heavy thunderstorm here. Very heavy rainfall rates as well. We are in a flash flood warning here, and this is in effect for another 2 hours and 33 minutes. This is for northern Davis County and southwestern Indiana, Greene County, Knox County, Martin, and Sullivan County until 7:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. 1 to 2 inches of rain has already fallen, and we've likely seen additional rainfall from this as well, potentially a little bit more than 1 to 2 inches. So heavy rain, torrential rainfall is occurring with these storms. So if you're out on the roadways, watch out for ponding, flooding, and never drive your vehicle through a flooded roadway. But the severe thunderstorm warning now has been trimmed back. This is actually solely now for Lawrence County, far southern Monroe County, as well as extreme western Jackson County and southern Indiana for nickel-size hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. So again, the hail size has gone down, which is great, but we do have some gusty winds in this, and this is moving east-northeast at 30 miles per hour. So moving more east now at 30. So very slow wind speeds here in terms of storm motions, but very heavy rainfall and torrential rainfall is occurring with this storm as well. As we go back towards the Vincennes area, we have our next severe thunderstorm warning. This is for Knox County only. Go ahead and look at our velocities here. Whoa, I had it. So some pretty strong winds here. Moving into the county here, you can see the leading edge of your gust front here. Probably around 45 to 50 miles an hour. Perhaps a few stronger gusts as we do have that severe thunderstorm warning in effect. And I am actually going to pull Ryan up real quick. He's going to take over for a minute. So I am going to pull him up here. Everybody say hi to Ryan. They should be able to hear you now, Ryan.
Perfect. I'll go ahead and cover for Caleb here. He's going to pop out, refresh, get some water, I assume, and hop back in here in about 2 or 3 minutes. So overall, the threat for severe weather continues across south central Indiana here. My screen share should be live. Perfect. There we go. So overall, this new warning now coming in, this is going to be for the Gibson and Pike County until 4:45 Central and 5:45 Eastern. The hazard with this is 60-mile-per-hour winds, and that is reported by trained weather spotters. So we have a trained spotter here reporting severe wind gusts near the Princeton area, moving toward Oakland City, Petersburg, general areas here along I-69 through the Pike and, excuse me, it's going to be Pike and Gibson counties. Take a look at velocity here. We're going to notice that these winds are, pretty strong in nature. 50, 45, 50, some spots close to 60 there. And this radar beam being so close, this is the radar site right here. We're getting a really good look at the storm here because the beam is so close to the ground. So these are likely winds that are occurring on the ground here, 50 or so miles per hour, upwards of 60 as reported here by a trained spotter. Again, this is moving toward Oakland City, I-69, Petersburg, Winslow. It's over Princeton right now. Francisco, Somerville, Mackey, Spurgeon, Stendal, Pikeville, Velpen, Otwell, Eva, Arda, and Gyro. Outside of that, 2 other warnings in effect here. One up here by the Bedford area. This is going to be for 60-mile-per-hour winds. Switch over here to the Indianapolis radar, get a bit better look at this. Check a look at the velocity on this. We're going to see it's pretty scattered in nature all throughout here. There's no really definite, wind front or gust front with this storm. But overall, with a lot of rain out there, I wouldn't be shocked to see some wet microburst or downburst, which is when rain or hail falls with such force. It spreads outward as it hits the ground. That will produce some gusty winds in all directions from the storm. So outside of that, I do believe there is a good risk with these storms for flash flooding. We already see these green boxes on my screen here. Those are flash flood warnings in effect. So we're going to see a lot of these cells repeatedly going over the same areas. So that's going to become a risk here as well. We just got done with a lot of flash flooding over the past, 2 or so weeks. So this is going to re-aggravate some of that concern for this in some localized area here. But zooming out, we have a lot of rain to get through here as these storms progress east-northeast through the afternoon and evening here. Current time on my screen there is 5:03 p.m. Eastern, 4:03 p.m. Central. We'll be live here as long as there's severe weather in the state of Indiana. And we have 3 warnings currently in effect, all for wind and that is wind only. 60-mile-per-hour winds on all these warnings here. Places in the warning: northern Lawrence County, southern Monroe County, all of, or should I say, south central Knox, the very top of Knox County, not included in that warning. All of Pike County and the east part of Gibson County are those in warnings currently. And again, 60-mile-per-hour winds is the going hazard. We have numerous reports. Looks like a spotters. Looks like a gust of 66 miles per hour, 2 miles north of Patoka. I believe that's what just got warned down here. Yeah, this one right here, up by the Hazleton area, looks like 2 miles north of Patoka. I'll put it right about in here. A 66 mile per hour confirmed gust from a trained spotter here. So that is getting close to considerable warning criteria here. So we may have to up the warning bar here to a considerable shortly if they decide to upgrade this warning. But regardless, that is heading directly for the Petersburg area, Arda, going further north here, Monroe City, Verne, Wheatland, Washington, Montgomery, Lagodi, Shoals area, Jasper, Huntingburg, all areas downstream of this current storm. Some of those areas are not currently in the warning, but this storm is heading your direction, so be aware. Keep an eye on the radar here very closely for new warnings and as these storms head your way. Do keep in mind as well, I do believe the weather radios are working this far south, but up there toward the Indianapolis, Bloomington area, I believe the weather radios are not working today and also tomorrow for pre-scheduled maintenance. So if you guys rely on those weather radios for your warnings, please find alternative methods. You can continue watching us here, IWO ISCN. Also, there's weather apps that will alert you, as well as EAS alerts on your phones that you can toggle on if they're not on already. The tornado risk tonight is quite low, Brooke. It's not impossible, not a zero risk, but it's a quite low, and that's because our wind shear in the lowest levels are lacking today. We have a lot of instability out there. We have a lot, not gonna say a lot, we have decent wind shear in the upper levels, but we need that low level wind shear as well. We just don't have that. We don't have spin with that today. So overall concern, not zero, but quite low with these storms. Main risk, damaging winds, large hail. What about Columbus, Indiana here in chat? So Columbus, you're on the north side currently of this current, we're going to call it a band of storms here that extends from about Greensburg back here towards Sullivan. This is going to push northward slowly. So Columbus, you're clear right now, but give it like a half hour or so. It'll likely be raining and raining hard, perhaps severe in nature, with gusty winds and some large hail being the primary concerns. But right now you're clear. I'd wait about a half hour. You guys will be getting some rain and some storms in about that half hour time frame. Are these storms going to move north toward Bloomington at all, or are they going to stay south of us? They're moving north very slowly here. As this animates on your radar, you're going to see all this rain back here, regardless of this main band of storms that's kind of progressing eastward here, more so east than it is north. You have a lot of rain back here yet to get through, so you will get rain. You will get a storm here, but I think the worst of this is going to stay off to your south. Look back here more so toward this general area. That looks like it's pushing more so to the north. We'll keep an eye on that area more so in particular. But yeah, do expect rain and storms in Bloomington. Storms are not expected to continue overnight tonight. This risk should diminish roughly by around 9 p.m. or so. We could have some isolated showers or storms ongoing around that sunset time frame, but the severe threat will be over or close to being over right around that sunset time frame, 9 p.m. Eastern. A new statement being issued over here in, let's see what county this is. This is going to be list counties for me. Brookville, St. Charles, Mount Carmel, Mound State Recreation Area, Scipio, Oxford, and Mixersville. Wind gusts up to 40 and penny-sized hail there. This is over Brookville, heading toward the Mount Carmel and eventually Oxford, Ohio areas. Not a warning, but a strong storm. A statement has been issued there by NWS out of Wilmington. Go back here and check on our storm with a confirmed 60, actually an upgrade here. There is a possible tornado attack on this storm now near Vincennes. Let's go ahead and look up velocity here to keep an eye on that. I don't see anything here that suggests rotation or anything imminent tornadic-wise, but they went ahead and upgraded that warning. Not upgraded, but kind of added that tag for a possible tornado on this particular storm. So we're going to track this a little bit more closely now. I'm going to pop open my other radar and zoom in and keep an eye on that as that progresses in Knox County. Looks like the area of interest was more so down here, right about here near Decker. Looks like that was the area of interest right about there. We see a little bit of a spike in velocity near Gyro. Is it Lana? Or I not pronounce that name right there. Just to the east of Decker. Looks like that was the area of interest, and that is sensed kind of passed off just south of Ridgeville. And as of right now, does not look concerning. We're keeping an eye on that closely, though. That would be the area of interest. So if you live in Vincennes, you're about to get hit by some winds, but anything tornadic for Vincennes, not likely. Further south here on that county line, Knox and Pike County would be the area of interest for there. So all these warnings continue for 60-mile-per-hour winds, and that one is now one warning there for Knox is a tagged possible tornado. We'll watch that closely. Back to chat here. Fort Wayne, further north here, not really seeing too much in the way of activity. Maybe an isolated shower or storm popping up, like right here near Portland. There's a shower there. Don't see lightning with that one. But overall, your risk here for storms for Fort Wayne is about over. This is your cold front, actually. If I drew this on a map, your cold front's from about Toledo, Ohio, down through about that Vincennes area. So if you're north of that line, Logansport, South Bend, Gary, anywhere north of here, you guys are pretty much all clear for storms and severe weather today. Anywhere south of here, from about Vincennes, Indianapolis, up to about, we're going to say Richmond area, you guys still have a risk there for some storms, some of which could be severe today. I think Caleb is back here with us. Perfect. All right, cool. If you want to pop me off, you're welcome to. I have some warnings to post, I believe. You missed, I don't know if you caught it or not, but you missed, there is a possible tornado tag on the Vincennes storm now. The area of interest that I saw was around the county line of Pike and Knox down there by, where was it? Ridgeville, Decker area. And that is since kind of weakened in nature, so.
I was going to say, I don't see too much anymore.
If you back it up 4 or 5 frames, you'll see what I'm talking about.
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
All right, I got some stuff to do here, Caleb, so I'm going to pop back out and get some stuff posted.
Sounds good. See you, Ren. All right, so we do have a couple more severe thunderstorm warnings in the state of Indiana. This one did get extended. It looks like. I don't know what all Ryan said while I was out there for a few minutes. This severe thunderstorm warning is for eastern Gibson County in southwestern Indiana and Pike County, southwestern Indiana, until 4:45 p.m. Central Time, 5:45 Eastern Daylight Time. This is for 60-mile-per-hour winds, penny-size hail. As we go up here to Vincennes, 60-mile-per-hour winds, penny-size hail is the going hazard here with that. We also have a severe thunderstorm warning for the Bedford area. This includes counties such as I believe I'm blanking on the county name now all of a sudden. I apologize. That'd be for Lawrence County, Southern Monroe County, and extreme northwest Jackson County, Indiana, for another 19 minutes here. But we also have this big green box here, and which encompasses I can't talk. Which includes multiple counties, multiple areas here for flash flooding. This is a flash flood warning, so in effect for another 2 minutes or 2 hours and 18 minutes here across southwest lower Indiana. 1 to 2 inches of rain has fallen when this was issued an hour ago, and there's probably an additional couple of inches of rain that have fallen since. So 2 to 4 inches of rain likely have fallen here in this area in a very short amount of time, leading to this flash flood warning. And I would not be surprised to see this flash flood warning extended further east, just because of the tract that these storms are training. They're following each other. So we have multiple storms following each other with torrential rainfall. The water holding capacity in the atmosphere today is very high. We call that PWATS. Precipitable water availability is what that stands for. And when you have PWAT values over an inch and a half, inch and a quarter, you have a really juicy atmosphere. You have a lot of moisture holding capabilities combine that with high dew points, high humidity, you get a really good recipe for heavy thunderstorms, and that's really what we see here this afternoon. We have one special weather statement over here. This is for Franklin County, just south of Union County, where we already saw some severe weather today. This one here is for 40-mile-per-hour winds and penny-sized hail, so below severe criteria, but strong. And that goes with a lot of these storms where you see the blue boxes down here in Kentucky. These are for storms that are strong, that are just not quite meeting the criteria for a severe thunderstorm. The severe thunderstorm warning has been allowed to expire here for Lawrence County and Monroe County here. That has been allowed to expire. However, we do have a flash flood warning still in effect here for southern Indiana. And our squall line, our storm complex that we had here at one point in time, that was really, really potent in Illinois. In fact, we had winds with a considerable warning on it for 70 miles per hour in Illinois, as well as several tornado warnings. That has since weakened significantly. We have a little bit of a gust front on it, but in fact, the main gust front is way out here. It's actually outrunning the rain a little bit, which is another sign of weakening a little bit as well when the air just kind of gets dislodged out ahead of the main storm. That's a good sign of weakening as well. So some good news with that. However, we're going to have to watch these cells out ahead of the main line. A few of these could go strong to severe with quarter-size hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. That is something we're going to have to keep an eye on and to focus on here near term through the rest of the evening here and through about 9 o'clock tonight is when the risk will finally die down once our cold front moves out of the area. And this is mainly for central and southern Indiana. Northern Indiana, your severe weather risk is pretty much over. There wasn't really a large one to begin with up there. Just by the placement of everything that we had here today, didn't really have a high risk up there at all. As we go to our hail tracker here, let's go ahead and look at our hail cores here. A couple stronger storms here near the Seymour area, North Vernon area. This is for Jackson County over here, as well as moving into Jennings County as well, near Mount Vernon. Starting to get a couple of heavier hail cores in there as well. Here's the one with a special statement on it. You can see a lot of these pop-up showers and thunderstorms have hail cores on them. So a lot of P's to nickels in a lot of these storms, which are sub-severe, but can be strong in their own way. And they can also bring down some heavier winds and stronger winds aloft in the form of downburst and or microburst. So something else to keep in mind as well. But we do have a new severe thunderstorm warning here. We have 3 severe thunderstorm warnings still in effect here. I guess not new, but we do have existing severe thunderstorm warnings here. This one here, go back to velocity here. Severe thunderstorm warning is in effect for, remains in effect until 5:45 for Knox County. This is for 60-mile-per-hour winds. And we also have a severe thunderstorm warning for Gibson County and Pike County. 60-mile-per-hour winds are the going hazards here, and this is moving east at 55 miles per hour, moving towards the Jasper area eventually as well. So this is a newer warning here that just got issued here north of the Evansville and Boonville area. The gust front does extend further south into Vanderburgh County as well, into Warwick County as well. But these winds down here along the river are much weaker than they are further north. You can see some brighter pinks right here, south of Washington. This is in northern Pike County here. Decent gust front here on these storms, although it's not really much to look at on radar. It really looks kind of messy and disorganized, but it is still producing some gusty winds. This one here up to 60 miles per hour winds and penny-sized hail. We'll be moving into the Du Bois County area here shortly, although Washington is not in a severe thunderstorm warning up in here. You are in a flash flood warning for northern Davis County, but southern Davies County, we're going to have to watch, you guys, to see if you get issued in this warning here, especially for far southeast Davies County, right in here, kind of in the boot of the county. We're going to have to keep an eye on that near the Pennyville, Alfordsville, Hudsonville, The strongest winds right in here associated with the storm, right along the I-69 corridor here and eastward near Comeback, Glendale, Algiers, Iva, Petersburg, Willisville, and Campbelltown, as well as Cato, White Oak, Winslow area. Really from Oakland City to Petersburg is the area to watch there for the strongest winds with this severe thunderstorm warning. The gust front here for the northern cell is actually about ready to outrun this warning box here. It actually is right in here, coming in the Bicknell, Washington, and the Davis County here, as well as maybe some gusty winds in Lagodi as well. Can't rule out some stronger winds there. Elsewhere, back to our storm over here, I have a couple different special weather statements. Yeah, I'll have one for the cell right behind that one, and that would be for Decatur County, I believe. 40-mile-per-hour winds and penny-size hail. That would actually, I guess, not be Kenny. That'd be Franklin County. It stops right before we get to Decatur. So Franklin County has a couple different cells coming into there that could have some small hail associated with them. Pretty large
coming in now.
And we have a new severe thunderstorm warning that just got issued here. A pretty large warning here. And this is for all of Daviess County, as well as Martin County, just south of Greens County here, for 60-mile-per-hour winds and penny-size hail. I wondered if they were going to extend that further east. Northeastern Knox County, Martin County, and Daviess County until 6 p.m. 60-mile-per-hour winds are the going hazard here. Moving northeast at 60 miles an hour. So these winds are moving at a pretty good clip here. You can see the gust front here. We have one right here, and then we have another one right back in here. So we kind of have a split gust front here as these storms are kind of merging and coming together and meeting up with each other to create that effect. The 60-mile-per-hour winds and penny-size hail are the going hazard here.
Would you mind muting my desktop audio?
Sorry about that, guys. I didn't realize Ryan was mumbling in the background. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain back there doing all the busy work. Anyway, strongest winds here now for northern Pike County, in the southern Daviess County here, near Lagodi to Petersburg to Oakland City. This is where the strongest winds are here on velocity. A little bit of gusty winds coming into Washington here in central Daviess County and eastern Knox County. But torrential rainfall is still occurring here as well. This flash flood warning could easily be extended further south as well to include central and southern Daviess County, Martin County, and even Knox County as well. Could get in on this flash flood warning further south, if not a flood advisory, due to the fact that torrential rainfall is still occurring over the same areas that have already seen really heavy rainfall. Though the rain may lighten up a little bit behind the torrential rainfall, look at all this rain back behind here that has yet to come through. Light to moderate rainfall still on the way across the majority of central Indiana. Some places, I think north of Bloomington, may see anywhere between a quarter and a half an inch, heavier amounts and thunderstorms. But areas further south, right in this line here between Seymour, Bedford, Vincennes, could see 1 to 2 inches of rain. And this heavier pocket of training showers and thunderstorms could easily see 1 to 2 inches of rain before the night is all said and done, if these storms continue to form and move over the same areas again and again. We have another special weather statement out. This is just south of Columbus, Indiana. This would be for excuse me. I believe, yeah. This will be for, looks like, nickel-sized hail, or 0.88, is for this storm here. And this would be for North Vernon, the North Vernon area in southeast Indiana. I believe that'll be for Jennings County there, is where this special weather statement is for. We'll go ahead and turn on our hail tracker here, get a look at it. And it does show a hail core. We do have a little bit of a hail core here moving into North Vernon. Could have some nickel-sized hail and maybe even a few larger stones mixing in as well. Although a small hail core, It is pretty potent. Have some nice deep reflectivity there, indication of a heavy core, heavy rain, torrential rainfall, as well as some hailstones, maybe up the nickel size is what this is statemented for, but we could have a few larger stones mixing down in. Would not be surprised to see that at all. As we go further north, not a lot going on. North of Indianapolis, your severe threat is over for the day. If you're north of Indianapolis, I really don't expect anything to really go severe up here at all. The cold front has passed. We don't have the dynamics up here that we have across southern Indiana to really support thunderstorm activity or even severe weather either. Heaviest rainfall from Bloomington, Columbus, and points southward. We do have some heavier showers near the Indianapolis area, Greenwood, Indiana. So think Morgan County, Johnson County have some heavier, smaller showers here. But nonetheless, here's one here in Morgan County. Got a nice small hail core on it here. So peas to dimes, maybe a few nickels within these cells as well in the stronger cores of some of these showers and storms. Although small in nature, they could be pretty impactful for a short duration of time for a small location. But torrential rainfall is occurring back here. Outside of severe weather, rainfall is one of the largest hazards that we have here today across this complex of storms here that is moving across southern Indiana. And a pretty potent hail core on this guy now. Wouldn't be surprised to see a severe thunderstorm warning here for Jennings County. That would not surprise me at all to see that. For Jennings County and maybe parts of Ripley County, pretty decent hail core moving into Mount Vernon. Wouldn't be surprised if there's a few quarters in there. Let's go ahead and see if we can see it on correlation. Yeah, a little bit. A little bit of a hail spike there coming into North Vernon. So North Vernon probably getting some hail. Nichols, maybe a few quarters in there as well. Would not be surprised to see what our winds are doing in there. Yeah, not too bad. So maybe a heavy rainmaker. A lot of lightning in there as well. And perhaps a few hailstones in there as well. Maybe even a microburst. Kind of see that bright green there. Could have a heavy downburst moving into North Vernon, Indiana, and Jennings County. So don't be surprised to see a few gusty winds within this storm as well. As we move on around the vicinity, we go back to our severe thunderstorm warnings across southeast lower Indiana. We have a special weather statement now for Du Bois County. So Louisville is opting to not issue a severe thunderstorm warning and leave it as a special weather statement. Strongest winds between Shoals and Petersburg, Indiana, near the Winslow area right in here, just southeast of Lagodi here. Also have some gusty winds near Washington. We kind of have two separate lines here as they kind of meet that V, right? You kind of see that V there. We have one line coming down from the north and another line coming up along our boundary. Where those two meet, we have some gusty winds here, even a little pocket of gusty winds north of Dover Hill. Severe thunderstorm warning is in effect for another 34 minutes. Penny-sized hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds, moving northeast at 60 miles per hour. This is for northeastern Knox County, Martin County, and Davies County in southwestern Indiana until 6 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. We also have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for East Central Gibson counties and Pike counties until 4:45 Central Time, 5:45 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. They may cancel that early depending on the progression of this gust front here. We'll have to keep an eye on that. Let's look at our severe thunderstorm warnings. As we look around the region, that we have this green box here in southwest Indiana, and this is a flash flood warning. A flash flood warning is in effect for northern Davies County in southwestern Indiana, southern Greene County in southwestern Indiana, northeastern Knox County in southwestern Indiana, Martin County, and Sullivan County in southwestern Indiana until 7:30 p.m. At 4:27, so keep this in mind, this was an hour ago exactly, between 1 and 2 inches of rain have already fallen. Since that time frame, we have probably seen an additional 1 to 2 inches of rain on top of the 1 to 2 inches of rain that were already received here in this area. So again, a very heavy rainfall is occurring here with this storm. And I would not be surprised to see this flash flood warning get extended east, south, as we have more torrential rainfall still falling over the areas as well. But we also have a lot of blue little boxes over here. But what are these blue little boxes? These are special weather statements. A lot of people don't know what a special weather statement is or if they even existed. These do not trigger the emergency alert system. You will not get an alert on your phone. You will not get an alert on the radio for these. The National Weather Service issues these for storms that are strong but are not severe. When they go severe, that's when they activate the emergency alert system on your car's radio, no weather radio, phones, etc. But for a special weather statement, they do not do that. This one here near North Vernon in Jennings County, Indiana, is currently statemented for nickel-sized hail. Wouldn't be surprised to see a few larger hailstones come down in that one, though, as it appears to be a decently strong. And we have another storm over here that has a pretty decent hail core on it as well. It is statemented, but could go severe warned as well. So we get a couple of these that are strong, that are borderline severe. There's just not quite enough hard set evidence for them to issue a severe warning yet, but we could see one. And if we were to see one, I'd be saying it'd probably be in Jennings County and Franklin County. These two cells in particular have my eye that are borderline. They're not quite there yet, but they are close. We did have the severe thunderstorm warning canceled down here for the Princeton area. Vincent, Knox County got trimmed back to just northern Knox County. We could see that reduced a little bit further. This is in effect for another half an hour here. Northeastern Knox County, Martin County, and Davies County in southwestern Indiana until 6 p.m. Areas to the south have been allowed to cancel or expire. We do have a special weather statement for Jasper and Du Bois County, Indiana. This one is for winds up to 50 miles per hour. 50 miles per hour, although not severe, is still strong. It can cause damage. It can blow loose items around, such as patio furnishings, trash cans, etc. So I know Fred doesn't want to pick up your trash can in his yard tomorrow morning. So if you guys have any trash cans out in southern Indiana, it might be a good idea to make sure those are secure and in a place where Mother Nature can't blow it away. So something to keep in mind if you're in path of any of these storms. Overall, in nature, this line of storms is not as impressive as what round one was this morning. Round one had the sky all to itself. It had more ingredients to work with. Round two is working on the leftovers and what we were able to add and re-intensify a little bit in the atmosphere. But we weren't really to destabilize fully 100% like we were this morning. So given that, this is a little bit more of a messier complex, meaning it's disorganized. Our storm complex from earlier, if you want to see how far away it is actually way over here in Pennsylvania. It is still going strong. Know anybody in the Pittsburgh area, they got hit pretty hard. A lot of these warnings are for 80 mile per hour winds and a destructive tag on it. So that complex that started in Indiana moved into an area that has been baking all day. It's been heating up by the sun, a lot more instability. This complex has been quite destructive across Ohio and now Pennsylvania, and they're issuing statements way out of ahead of this thing to give people a heads up that freight train is coming. But thankfully, this next one is not quite as intense. It was intense in Illinois, but it has since weakened a little bit as it's moved into Indiana and become a little bit more disorganized. So that's some good news. As we really don't need any more severe weather across Indiana, and I think I can say for most people, we've had our fair share for the year. We're well above average in tornadoes. Been an extremely active year, so I'm okay if this thing weakens a little bit on a personal preference. So, with the biggest threat though going forward, outside of isolated hail to quarter size and isolated gusts to 60 miles per hour, it's the rainfall risk associated with this storm. Training showers and thunderstorms extending from a line from Washington, Indiana to North Vernon. So think Davies County all the way to Jennings County here have a line of just torrential rainfall, and these storms are back building, meaning they rebuild and then dump on the same areas again and again and again. And that's a combination for flash flooding. So we'll likely see flash flood warnings get extended, if not flood advisories extended as well. We just have that really classic setup for excessive rainfall, and that was also highlighted by the Weather Prediction Center. All of southern Indiana is actually highlighted in what's called a mesoscale precipitation discussion, meaning they're watching for the threat of heavy rain, and they knew that was going to be an issue, which is exactly what we're seeing here. We're seeing these training showers and thunderstorms that are taking advantage of the amount of moisture that we have here today in Indiana. Seymour, Indiana, you guys just got issued a special weather statement for 42 minutes, wind gusts up to 50 miles per hour and half-inch hail. So not severe, but strong. But we do have a severe thunderstorm warning still in effect here, and this is for Davis County, Martin County, as well as Knox County, northeastern Knox, until 6 o'clock here this afternoon. 60 mile per hour wind gust is the only hazard here with that storm, as well as torrential rainfall, lots of lightning, and some small hail can't be entirely ruled out back in here. Once we get behind this line, you're just in what we call stratiform rain. Your cloud bases lift a little bit, gets a little lighter outside, but we have a nice steady rain. Nothing too torrential, but a nice moderate to steady rain once we get behind the worst of it. And then from there, we kind of quiet down a little bit tonight. So that's some good news, but we got to get through this storm cluster here. Those of you north of Muncie, say Muncie, Lafayette, Marion, Logansport, Fort Wayne areas further north than that. You guys are in the all clear for the night. I don't expect any rain showers for you guys, especially for Logansport, Fort Wayne, and points northwestward. The cold front has moved through. You guys are clear. You're going to see the humidity go down a little bit up there too. Yay, I know we're all excited about that, right? So we're going to see the humidity drop up here, get a little bit cooler as this cold front moves through across northern Indiana. Not the case across southern Indiana. The humidity is anything but going lower. If anything, it's going up. We have so much rainfall down here across southern Indiana. I expect a lot more flood advisories, flash flood warnings to be issued here and expanded across southern Indiana. A lot of these storms are what we call training thunderstorms. Training, just like a freight train, they all follow in a line. It's just one after another over the same areas. And that is a recipe for excessive rainfall. It's a good recipe for one location to pick up a lot of rainfall too, where your neighbor may get 1/4 of an inch, but a few miles down the road, you get 3 inches. That's kind of the setup that we have here across southern Indiana. That we have here. And this is mainly along I-70 and points southward. I think the I-70 corridor and points southward have the best potential for thunderstorms and the occasional severe thunderstorm as well through the rest of the evening, and we see that here. Go ahead and switch radars here. It does not let me click on it. There we go. We still have the severe thunderstorm warning here in effect for southern portions of Indiana. Martin County, Davies County, as well as eastern Knox County, although I expect that to get trimmed back to Davies County only. Looking at hail, I don't see a lot of hail in these storms, but I do see them in the storms out ahead of it. We have some decent hail cores on a few of these storms here. The one in Jennings County still showing signs of a pretty decent hail core. Know anybody in North Vernon here? If there's anybody watching from North Vernon, let me know what you see. I'd love to see what your hail size is there, assuming you got some in North Vernon. If I would have to guess, it is currently statemented for nickel, I believe. Yeah, nickel size hail, which is 0.88. That's less than 1/4 of an inch below severe criteria. So we're getting pretty close to a severe criteria. We're just not quite there yet, but we're close. But out of all the other risks, this is really turning into a heavy rain event. Training showers and thunderstorms can create a very dangerous risk in terms of flash flooding. It's not a risk you often talk about with severe weather, but flash flooding is a hazard in itself. You can come on it quickly when driving, especially across southern Indiana. Your roads are bendy. You come through hills, wooded, forested areas. So visibility may not be the best either in a lot of these situations. So a lot of rainfall is occurring on areas that already see heavy rainfall. We already had a round of storms coming through this morning. So by the time this is all said and done, some areas may see 2 to 4 inches of rain. Not everywhere is going to see that. Some may see a tenth, some may see 3 inches. But that's the setup that we have here today when you have a really juicy scenario with lots of moisture to work with. Yeah, but just as suspected here, our severe thunderstorm warning has been allowed to be canceled for Knox County, but it does still remain in effect for the eastern half of Daviess County and all of Martins County. 60-mile-per-hour winds, penny-sized hail is associated with that storm. Let's go ahead and turn back our velocity here, take a look at that. Here we go, right in here. And a little bit of a gust front here. I don't like that one. We'll go back to this velocity feature here. A little bit of a gust front here coming into Lagodi. You can kind of see that little bit of a clear slot here, some stronger winds mixing down to the ground here between Shoals, Lagodi, and central Martin County in southern Indiana. Kind of see that bowed out appearance to it here. There's your gust front and perhaps some stronger winds mixing down into Lagodi as we speak, and maybe some gusty winds coming into French Lick too, as well as Paoli here as well, getting in on some stronger winds as well. But we do have quite a few other cells that are popping up. They're scattered in nature. There's another look. You can kind of see that gust front right in there. This is mainly in Martin County now, moving towards Lawrence County and maybe Orange County. I'll have to see if you guys get a severe thunderstorm warning or a special weather statement. Right now, Bedford, Lawrence County, you guys are in a special weather statement for winds up to 50 miles per hour and half-inch hail, 0.50, while this is 60 in Penny. So the hail size has gone down here, but we could still have some gusty winds associated with it. The strongest winds are right in here, but this is using a radar that's further away as well. We're looking higher up in the cloud. Oftentimes, you look higher up in the cloud, the wind speeds are going to increase with height. As we go with a radar that's a little bit closer to the ground, suddenly the winds are not quite as impressive, and that's because we're looking closer at the ground. But nonetheless, we do have a swath here that could support severe thunderstorm gusts to 60 right around the Lagodi area, perhaps Shoals and Lagodi, right where you have the those brighter pinks there as well. A new warning here. This is for French Lick, Paoli, and points northward. Mitchell, Bedford, Guthrie. Go ahead and read the counties here for you. This will be for northern Orange County in central Indiana, as well as Washington County in south central Indiana, until 6:15 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. So think Salem to French Lick and points northward could have winds to 60 miles an hour. This does not include Lawrence County, just Orange and northern Washington County. We have two different offices here, so do keep that in mind. Special weather statements on the north, severe thunderstorm warning to the south. We'll have to see if Indianapolis matches them and issues a warning for the Bedford area, for Lawrence County, and perhaps into Jackson County. We'll have to see here how that trends. But outside of severe weather, very heavy rainfall here. Thunderstorms have really filled in here across western Indiana, and they're really training over the same areas here. If you draw a line from Franklin County all the way to Daviess County back here, heavy rain falling over the same areas again and again and again. Some of these areas could see 2 to 3 inches of rain. And some areas have already seen 2 to 4 inches of rain and already racking up beyond that. So a very heavy rainfall here. Flood advisories are starting to pop up more. We have a flash flood warning in effect here, and this may get extended. I'm surprised it hasn't gotten extended yet, to be completely honest with you. Into Lawrence County here has just been inundated with rainfall over the past couple of hours here. Very, very heavy rainfall. But looking ahead here, we have one lone cell outside Muncie. So those of you following north of Indianapolis, where I said the risk is over, not severe, but could have some fat raindrops on your windshield here. But the severe weather risk up here is quite low. This is a little cell that popped up right along the cold front itself. So no severe weather is expected up there, but you can't rule out a stray shower. But areas north of Muncie, Fort Wayne, Logansport, Kokomo, areas north, South Bend, Angola, no rain is expected for you guys. Your risk is over. And the humidity is probably going to drop up there too, which I know a lot of us are saying, yay, but not the case for southern Indiana. We got a ways to go yet before we see some relief from the humidity. We're actually going to have humidity down here for the next few days, so we don't quite clear out entirely to give us a break until the weekend. As we go back to our hail tracker here, we'll go ahead and take a look at our hail tracker again here, just to see what our updrafts are doing here within these thunderstorms. You can see how they're sporadic in nature, really small, almost like popcorn. That's really indicative of these scattered showers and thunderstorms. Could have some small hail, pea to dime size, maybe some nickels in the stronger cores, such as the one just northwest of Seymour, north of Mount Vernon. Could have some small pea-size hail. If you guys see any hail, let me know in the chat what you guys see. If you guys have any hail at your location, any wind at your location, or damage, let me know what you guys are seeing. I love to know what you're seeing and where you're at in correlation to the radar, and that helps me know on the back end that what we see on radar is verifying or it's not reaching the ground yet. That information is really handy when operating the radar. So if you guys have anything or see anything, let me know. I'd love to see that information for you. Sorry for being quiet there. Ryan was talking to me on the back end, and he was saying we do have train spotter reports in Knox County of some damage here from this storm, and that was in Gibson County, from these strong winds being mixed down to the surface. We have some structure damage, tree damage, and that is why these severe thunderstorm warnings, although they don't look like much on the radar, sometimes radar can be deceiving. Sometimes your strongest winds are stronger below the radar, and that does happen at times where stronger winds are mixing down, and or they're behind the heaviest rain as well. We call that evaporative cooling. That could be going on behind this storm to where the radar doesn't pick it up. But stronger winds are occurring with the storm within the severe thunderstorm warning, so do keep that in mind. That is some proof that the storm is causing damage, or has caused damage across Knox and Gibson County. Numerous reports of winds of 60 to 65 miles an hour measured by train spotters, as well as tree, power line, and some structure damage as well. So do keep that in mind if you are ahead of this storm. I was just informed that it has caused some damage to the west of us, and we'll have to see how that continues as we move east. So those reports will continue to be filtered in as they come in and as they're recorded by the National Weather Service and put into their database. Overall, though, looking at reflectivity here, if you want my honest opinion, it's very disorganized. It's not like what we saw this morning where we had a really organized and ever-intensifying complex as it moves east. This is moving east into a really messy environment. All of these little storms out ahead here are stealing what's left of the ingredients ahead of our main batch of rain here, not giving it much to work with. Think of it as a very competitive game where it's grab all you can before everyone else, and that's what these storms are doing. They're grabbing all the ingredients away from each other. They're interfering with each other. It's really messy, and that's going to help reduce our widespread severe weather risk across Indiana. It really made for a messy environment, a disorganized environment, nothing like what we saw this morning, which is good. We definitely didn't need 2 rounds of that. It was possible if we were able to destabilize a little bit more and get a little bit more of what's called a cap, which is a stable layer in the atmosphere, which actually helps prevent a lot of those pop-up showers and storms out ahead of your main event, and that would have created a higher-end severe weather event today across southern Indiana. Thankfully, we didn't meet its full potential here for round 2, which is good. We don't need it. But nonetheless, we do still have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect here for 28 minutes here, and this is for northern Orange County, Washington County, and south central Indiana, as well as further to the west here for 12 more minutes here. This is for not Gibson County. This is for Davies County and Martin County here for another 12 minutes here. 60-mile-per-hour winds, penny-sized hail, and this storm has a history of producing damaging winds with structure damage as well. Back to the west across Gibson and western Knox County and eastern Knox County as well. So across Knox and Gibson, we do have some structure damage there, and that's as it entered Indiana, but we do still have some sporadic wind gust report throughout the area as well. Over here to Seymour, Indiana, still in a special weather statement. Special weather statements are issued when the storm has not quite reached severe criteria. They're strong, but they're not severe, but they can still cause a hazard to property, especially lawn furnishings, patio furniture, your cushions could blow off, your empty trash can could blow up the street. Fred doesn't want to pick up your trash can, so make sure it's in a secure location so it doesn't blow into Fred's yard. But 50-mile-per-hour winds, half-inch hail, still could be an inconvenience. Though not severe, 50-mile-per-hour winds are nothing to laugh about. Those are very strong winds, and that can blow some damage. That can blow some trees down, some dead trees more than likely, and can also cause some branches to blow down and around as well. So again, take these special weather statements seriously as well. They don't issue them for no reason. They do have a risk upon itself, although not a severe risk. They are strong and can be dangerous to those caught outside. You can have limbs blowing down, torrential rainfall, as well as small hail. So do keep that in mind if you're in any of these blue boxes here. We'll actually just start at these blue boxes and work our way back here to our severe thunderstorm warnings. Our first blue box here is going to be for Franklin County, Indiana, for another 10 minutes here. 40-mile-per-hour winds, penny-sized hail, which is 3/4 of an inch diameter. Think of it like a whole lot of Abraham Lincolns falling from the sky. That is what we have there. We need Washington's to get severe. Quarter-sized hail is severe. Go a little bit further to the south here in Ripley County. We have a special weather statement for quite a while, another 40 minutes here. Wind gusts of 40 miles per hour and half-inch hail, a little bit smaller than pennies. Half-inch hail can still cause some minor damage. It can shred your leaves, hurt your garden and flowers and stuff like that. As well as very heavy rain has been noted here in this statement as well. And going further to west here, to Seymour, Indiana, we were just there, 25 minutes for this warning here. Winds up to 50, so we're a little bit stronger here in this storm. 50-mile-per-hour winds, half-inch hail, which is 0.5 inches in diameter, and a little bit back towards the Bedford, Indiana. This is our last special weather statement here in Indiana. 50-miles-per-hour winds and half-inch hail for this one as well. Just south of Bedford, Indiana, across Orange and Washington County here, Lawrence County is not in a severe thunderstorm warning, but we do have one just south of you. Include State Road 37 from French Lick, Paoli over to Salem, 60-mile-per-hour winds and penny-sized hail associated with this storm. It's really hard to get a good idea what the winds are doing. We're in between radars here. And also something to keep in mind, the rainfall is so heavy that we don't have a good clear spot into the storm that the radar is able to view. It has to get through a lot of heavy rain in order to see where the winds are at. So we may not be getting a really good interpretation of the strongest winds and exactly where they're at because of how much rain is in the way. Radar is good, but it does have limitations, unfortunately. You can see a broad area of perhaps some gusty winds here associated with this heavy thunderstorm here in southern Lawrence County in northern Orange County, moving east. And our severe thunderstorm warning is still here. Oh, there it is. They canceled Davies warning. I was wondering, something disappeared from my screen, and there's so much rain in the way, I was trying to find it. But Orange and Washington County is still in effect, and this storm is moving east at 65 miles an hour. So this storm is moving very quickly, although the pop-up storms around it are only moving at, let's say, 25 to 30 miles per hour. And that's often the case when you get these bigger complexes, which are termed an MCS. It's a big fancy weather term for a mesoscale convective complex. Think of it as like a big complex, a factory of different storms that are all together and combined into one. There are multiple thunderstorms that make up this complex or group, and that's what an MCS stands for. And when you have this complex, a lot of times you have upper level support that can allow it to go faster than other storms surrounding it. And that's what we have here, which is why this one's moving east at 65, while these guys, who are by themselves, they can only go with the wind. So the wind is only moving 30 miles an hour. That's how fast they're going to move, and that's what's going on. So one severe thunderstorm warning still in effect. They did trim Davies County completely out of it. It is now for Martin County, eastern Martin County, still in a severe thunderstorm. And we do have some indications that there's some gusty winds trying to work their way down to the ground here. But because of how heavy the rain is, we're in between radars. It's hard to see exactly where that wind is and how strong it is when it's reaching the ground. However, according to Indianapolis, so we do have some strong winds just above the surface, about 1,000 feet off the ground. So some of that wind could be mixing down to the ground, so we could have some strong winds approaching severe criteria in Martin County, moving into Lawrence County here fairly soon as well. So do keep that in mind if you are in the severe thunderstorm warning here. Anywhere from Shoals, French Lick, Paoli to Salem could have some strong winds here, trying to mix their way down to the ground in those heavier downpours. Elsewhere across the region, a lot of blue boxes here, special weather statements in effect here for storms that are strong. They're just not quite severe. The strongest two at the moment are right over here. Just across the Ohio line, they have passed over there, with two remaining in Franklin County as well as Ripley County. This one right in here, I'll switch radars to give you a better look. Here you go. Metamora getting a heavy downpour right now. If you guys are on the train there, might be getting a little wet. Wind gusts up to 40 miles per hour and penny-sized hail. Radar indicated, but gusty winds could knock down tree limbs and blow around unsecured objects like patio furniture. It doesn't take much to blow a cushion off your chair on your porch or in your backyard. So make sure those are tied down or brought inside a shed until these storms have passed. Then they're also not wet when you go back to use them again too. So that's another plus. Further south into Ripley County, Indiana, winds to 40 miles per hour, half-inch hail, frequent lightning, lots of lightning associated with these storms. Lightning does not make a storm severe, but it is a hazard. On average, lightning kills an average of 20 people in the U.S. every year, but also injures hundreds more. Hundreds are injured by indirect contact, meaning they're outside, but they're not directly struck, but one strikes nearby and that ground current can injure them, and you can have some electrocution risk there as well through ground current. So again, lightning is a hazard in itself, although it does not make a storm severe. It is a hazard. So when thunder roars, go indoors. We are down to one severe thunderstorm warning now, and this is solely for Orange County, Northern Orange County, and Northwestern Washington County. Martin County has been cleared from our severe thunderstorm warning. So what this tells me is these winds that we see here on radar is likely clear air or some gusty winds on the backside that are not reaching the ground. So we don't have ground evidence that these stronger winds are mixing down to the ground. They're staying a few hundred feet off the ground. So that we have winds of 60 miles an hour showing up on velocity here in these brighter pinks. They're staying a couple hundred feet off the ground and they're not coming down. We don't have a strong enough storm to pull those winds down. They're staying elevated with the cloud bases. So that's some good news there. But nonetheless, severe thunderstorm warning still in effect for Northern Orange and Washington County, where the National Weather Service has allowed that to remain for obvious reasons. They may have higher confidence or see something that I don't see that would I can't pronounce the word. That would indicate that those winds are coming down to the ground at that location. So do treat that with caution until that warning has been cleared entirely. Bill says, heavy rain in Franklin County. Yeah, I believe it. There's a lot of heavy rain out there. These are what we call gully washers. These are very heavy rain. Flood advisories are filling in here across western Indiana. We still have a flash flood warning in effect, and this is observed. Keep in mind, we did not have an observed tag on this 5 minutes ago, but we do now. This is an observed flash flood warning, meaning get to higher ground now if you're in a flash flood prone area. This is an observed warning here. A very serious situation here. At 5:47 p.m., just 10 minutes ago, the public reported flash flooding was ongoing near Odin, between 1.5 and 3 inches of rain has fallen, and additional rainfall rates of a half inch to 2 inches are possible. So some areas here may see 5 inches of rain before we are all said and done in the warned area. Flash flooding is already occurring. So if you're on the roadway here, especially I-69, this is going down right down I-69 here, and you have State Road 37, US 150 here, very high traveled area, very heavy rainfall. Slow down, don't hydroplane. If you do find yourself in a hydroplaning situation, let off the gas. Let off your brakes. Don't touch the accelerator pedal or your brake pedal. Just keep your steering wheel in the direction you want to go and coast out of it until your wheels are able to grip the pavement again and remove that water efficiently. The faster you go, the harder it is for your tires to pull that water away and separate it to allow you to have traction and contact with the pavement. So again, slow down. Speed is the biggest thing when it comes to hydroplaning. The faster you go, the higher you are at risk for hydroplaning versus the slower you go. So make sure your headlights are on and you're going at a safe speed so your tires can efficiently remove that water from the roadway. A very dangerous situation here. And we also have a flood advisory near the Ohio border as well. Here's our flood advisory right here. And these storms have been hanging around for quite a while, for a couple hours here. Not surprised to see that here. Flood advisory is in effect until 9 o'clock here tonight. So another 3 hours here. Between an inch to an inch and a half has fallen, and another half inch to an inch are possible. And I would expect to see more flood advisories to really fill in here from this line I had mentioned previously, from Franklin County to Greene County, Sullivan County, Knox County, and areas south, right along that line here from Davis to Franklin. And that's really what we're starting to see here. And that's because these storms aren't going anywhere. They're just back building and training like a freight train of thunderstorms, all lined up in a row, dumping heavy rain over the same areas, and that can really lead to flash flooding, ponding, and excessive rainfall. We do have a couple severe thunderstorm warnings now in effect for our neighbors to the east in Dayton, Ohio. These storms for 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-size hail. So if you know anybody that lives in the Dayton area, do let them know that severe thunderstorm is heading in their direction. We have one severe thunderstorm warning left in Indiana ourselves for another 15 minutes here, 60-mile-per-hour winds and penny-sized hail, and this is until 6:15 Eastern Daylight Time. We have a special weather statement now in effect for the small cell. For parts of Scott County, far eastern Washington County, as well as parts of Jefferson County. This is for 40-mile-per-hour winds and pea-size hail, so mainly a wind threat here, despite some really small hailstones the size of some peas could be mixing in there as well. But not a lot of these storms are really showing signs of intensification, which is a really good thing. The storms that are the most concern for me in terms of having a severe risk today would be these isolated storms that are by themselves. They have more ingredients to work with, instability. They all have moisture to work with, but the ones that have the instability to work with are the ones in air where the instability hasn't been used up by other storms. And these would be the ones that are by themselves. I could have some sporadic hail cores to produce hails, nickels, quarters that we've already seen here, and could actually bring some of those stronger winds down to the ground in terms of a downburst, a microburst, because of how much moisture there is in the atmosphere today. These storms get really heavy thunderstorms, and can help pull some of that wind down to the ground. Outside of the severe weather risk, flash flooding and hydrologic issues are the number 2 risk here today outside of severe weather. Ponding, we already see a couple of flash flood warnings in the vicinity of Indiana, one with an observed tag on it. Over here has an observed flash flood tag, meaning flash flooding is occurring and has been reported. So Ryan just told me he has an update to share with you guys, so I'm actually going to pull him back in here and let him talk for a second as he wanted to share something with you. So Ryan, you have the floor.
I have some good news for those of you across South and West Indiana. The severe thunderstorm watch has been canceled for the following counties: Davies, Greene, Knox, Martin, Monroe, Sullivan, all those counties just listed, you are now in the clear. The severe watch has been canceled. The watch continues for Bartholomew, Brown, Decatur, Jackson, Jennings, and Lawrence County until 9 p.m. Eastern, but likely will have a cancellation of that as these storms move across your area. So anywhere basically west of Bloomington, you guys are in the clear. So Vincent, Evansville, any place between those areas, you guys are all clear of severe weather. Enjoy the nice light to moderate rain there. All good, all clear for the night. If you're still ahead of this line, you have a severe risk continuing through about the 8 o'clock time frame.
So anywhere highlighted in that area in blue still has a risk of seeing a strong to severe thunderstorm, mainly in the terms of hail, sporadic hail up to quarter size, gusty winds up to 60. The tornado risk is very, very low. We don't have a lot of wind shear. We actually had more wind shear this morning for round 1 than what we do now for round 2. And because of that displacement, we don't have all the ingredients. Yeah, Kokomo, you're well north of that blue line. You guys are good in the clear. Anywhere in this circle here, if you're not in the circle, you guys are in the clear. If you're in the circle, I hope you know that you're in the circle. If not, Google Maps is a great tool to use. You guys are at risk for isolated storms. Some of those could be severe. And something else to talk about here, I'm actually going to do this. Yeah. If you are inside this green circle here, so the blue circle is the best risk for an isolated severe storm. But if you're anywhere inside that green circle, you have the best potential for seeing flash flooding, excessive rainfall, and seeing rainfall rates over 1.5 inches an hour in some heavier cores. That has been reported today. We have flash flood warnings in effect. We have one flood advisory and a flash flood warning observed in effect for southwest lower Indiana. But if you're anywhere in that green circle where you see these thunderstorms, they're just back building like a freight train, and they're going over the same areas again and again and again. And that's really a recipe for flash flooding, hydrologic issues across all of southeast lower Indiana and central Indiana, southwest of Bloomington. This area right over here is what we call, this is a fancy term called stratiform rain, which is just your typical rain, maybe some embedded thunder, but a light, steady rain. Your severe threat is over. Open your windows, enjoy the pitter-patter of the rain, maybe some rumbles of thunder, but your severe weather threat is over, and so does the risk for torrential rainfall. Though you see some yellows in there, it's not torrential, it's just moderate, just a steady rain. Once you get in the reds, pinks, and purples, now we're talking tropical downpours, like the one in Middletown, Ohio, over here, and as well as North Vernon, Batesville, Seymour. You guys are getting some heavier rainfall to where the term torrential may come in. Anywhere you see bright red and even pinks is where you get in the torrential rainfall category. So again, make sure your street drains are full and clean. They don't have any clogged debris to allow water to drain and percolate effectively.
Yeah, we have a new statement out now for Union and Franklin County by the Ohio border. Wind gust up to 50 miles per hour possible with that one.
Yeah, and he is talking about this one right in here. And if we click on that, it's in effect for another 39 minutes here. 50 mile per hour winds and 1/2 inch hail. So a pretty strong thunderstorm. Not severe, but pretty strong in its own way. Go ahead and switch radars here. And we're starting to see that trend, Ryan, where we're starting to see severe thunderstorm warnings be replaced with special weather statements. And that's a really good trend that you want to see as a radar operator, because it means what you're seeing on radar is actually verifying in terms of a weakening trend. A lot of the ingredients are getting used up, and these storms are really disorganized, Ryan. And when we get a lot of scattered storms ahead of your main complex, they're actually aiding in the weakening process of that storm complex by using up all the ingredients that we didn't have a lot of to begin with, but they're using up what is left and leaving nothing for that storm complex behind it. And that's really been a huge role in the weakening process of that storm complex. If we had any bit of a cap or a stable layer aloft that would have prevented any of those storms from forming, Ryan, I think we would have had a lot bigger of a story to tell here this afternoon.
Yeah, I agree. And speaking of severe turning to special weather statements, we have another one now for Jennings County that is now sub-severe, 50 mile per hour winds and penny-size hail for that one. That's going to be over North Vernon. Just to the east of Seymour. Yep, there you go.
Yep,
So
and
just
that is
one
in
warning
effect until
now.
yeah, in effect for quite a while, another 40 minutes here. Winds up to 50 and penny-sized hail. And our severe thunderstorm warning expires in 8 minutes here. My guess is you're just going to let that expire or transition into a special weather statement. Really looking at radar, Ryan, I don't really see a lot in the way of strong winds with that storm anymore, if I'm being honest with you.
Check on the Louisville radar, because on Louisville there is still a pocket there.
Is there a pocket there? Let's
About
go.
50-mile-per-hour winds, 50-55 there at about 3,000
Yeah, there
feet.
is a little bit. That kind of spiked there in the last few minutes here. So if you're just east of French Lake, let's say from Paoli to Salem here, French Lake, you guys are in the clear, just some heavy rain. But if you're from Paoli, let's say State Road 37, State Road 60 over towards Salem, could have a pocket there, and that's about, about 1,000 feet off the ground, Ryan?
Let me pop that open here real quick. Give me like 5 seconds.
Yeah, he'll tell us how high that velocity signature is getting picked up on radar, and that also gives us a good idea. All right, if it's this strong, this high off the ground, how much of that is reaching the ground? Because there are some frictional forces that help slow the wind speed down a little bit as it reaches towards the ground.
The answer to your question is 3,300 feet.
So fairly high up, but some of that wind could be reaching the ground. So it could be a reason why they have not canceled that severe thunderstorm warning and have left it in place here. And here's another zoomed in look here, crossing State Road 60 here into the Salem area here. State Road 135 getting in on some gusty winds here as well.
Wouldn't be shocked if they cancel Orange County warning here any second.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Gust front has about exited the county. So if you're in Orange County, just some rain, some thunderstorms. The worst of it is over for you guys. Washington County, though, in particular, that Salem area along State Route 135, you guys have that gusty, we're going to call them gusty winds heading your way.
Oh, changed my color here. Green on green. It's kind of hard to see. Back to yellow here. So here's your gust front right in here. So if you're in areas right over here, let's say Washington County, you guys are at risk for some gusty winds. 50 to 55 is what I'm going to call it right now, unless otherwise justified by the National Weather Service. They have better tools they can analyze to see what's being recorded there closer to the ground. But if you're anywhere in this vicinity, right in here, and there's that warning getting trimmed back right there. They did leave a little bit of Orange County there, right where you see that pocket of winds are, right in here, these brighter greens. These are your winds that would suggest meeting severe criteria or being pretty close to it. Coming into Campbellsburg, Livonia, and Salem, as well as Rush Creek Valley here in Washington County, Indiana. Really, if this is moving due east, if you are in that box, that'd be the best chance of seeing some winds close to severe criteria, if not right at it, probably within that 50 to 60 range, right in there. In this storm, we'll get a speed on it. It is actually moving east at 60 miles an hour. So if we time this out, we're at Claysville in 2 minutes, Salem in 12 minutes. So about 12 minutes before it reaches State Road 135 near Salem. So about 12 minutes out for you in Salem. The severe thunderstorm warning does expire in 4 minutes. Be interesting to see what the National Weather Service in Louisville decides to do. If they reissue that warning for this pocket of wind here exiting Orange County into Washington County, or if they feel it's staying aloft and not quite reaching the ground, we'll probably see a blue box get introduced here for Washington County. But for right now, severe thunderstorm warning is in effect, so treat it as such until otherwise go ahead and...
Looks like we have never mind.
I was just going to say I was going to turn back my dual radar here to show you what is going on. We're going to take a look. I'll have reflectivity over here, and we'll turn on our hail tracker over here on the left to get a look at our hail cores again. Pretty decent hail core right in here. Coming into Scottsburg, probably some nickel-size hail coming in there. Vienna, Scottsburg. Let's see what this one is warned for. Pea-size hail that may have gone up in size just a little bit. Also, some small hail outside of North Vernon, coming into Versailles, Milan. Could have some small hail moving in your vicinity as well.
We'll also note that the warning for the Salem area for Washington County expires in about 3 minutes. So we're going to get an extension or a statement in its place.
We'll have to see what the National Weather Service in Louisville decides on. They're analyzing that right now. They're probably typing something out right now as I speak, and likely drawing out that polygon, whatever it is, if they decide to issue a special weather statement, let it go entirely, or reissue a warning. We'll see that here in the next minute or so. As soon as they hit enter, it'll pop up here on the radar. Something else to talk about, though, outside of severe weather. Look at these green boxes here. These are flash flood warnings. We have flash flood warnings with an observed tag on it. We cannot ignore this. We have an observed flash flood ongoing for northern Davies County, southern Greene County, northeastern Knox County, northeastern Martin County, and southern Sullivan County's flash flood warning is in effect here for another 1 hour and 17 minutes at 5:47. So a little over 20 minutes ago, the public reported flash flooding was ongoing near Odin. Between 1.5 inches and 3 inches of rain have already fallen. Additional rainfall amounts up to 2 inches are possible in the warned area. That's 5 inches of rain, with isolated higher amounts in thunderstorms. Flash flooding is caused by thunderstorms reported by the public. Turn around, don't drown when encountering flooding roads. Most flood deaths occur in vehicles, and it actually takes 6 inches of moving water to swipe an adult human off their feet, and I believe 18 inches of moving flowing water to move your car off the road. So again, if you come across moving water that you can't see the bottom, don't drive into it, turn around, don't drown. And we also have a flash flood advisory. This is for Franklin County, Indiana, as well as a sliver of Union County for 2 hours and 46 minutes until 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Between 1 inch and 1.5 inches has fallen, and additional 1 to 2 inches are possible there in the box. Our severe thunderstorm warning has supposedly it's expired. It just hadn't left my screen yet. There we go.
That's gone for me.
So we have no severe thunderstorm warnings in the state of Indiana at this time, and they let it go entirely. They decided not to issue a special weather statement. Higher confidence in those winds staying aloft, not reaching the ground. So that's some good news there across southern Indiana. So we are just down to special weather statements, meaning there is no active severe weather in the state of Indiana at this time. We are down to a couple strong thunderstorms, but no severe weather at this time. Our severe weather from this morning, check this out how far away it is. It is now in central Pennsylvania, and it is still going strong across the state. 70 mile per hour winds, 70 mile per hour winds, 60. We even had a few destructive warnings, Ryan, back here close to Pittsburgh, where we saw some destructive 80 mile per hour winds there associated with this complex. And this complex started all the way over here by Terre Haute earlier this morning, Ryan, at about 9, 10 in the morning. So pretty impressive on how far it's gone and maintained its intensity as well.
I'll pop up, actually, before we do that, new statement coming in now. This is going to be over toward the Kentucky-Ohio border, Versailles, Milan, Lawrenceburg area. It's going to be for 50 mile per hour winds and penny-size hail. That box just to the west of Cincinnati.
Yep, be for this guy right here, likely for this cell right in here. We were talking about that hail core a little bit earlier, how it showed signs of an intensifying updraft within it. Is in effect for 44 minutes here, 50 and penny, as well as frequent lightning here. A lot of these storms have a lot of lightning associated with them as well. What was it you wanted to show, Ryan?
I was going to pop my screen. I'm going to actually do it right now. If you want to take my scene here on your source tab.
Yeah, just let me know when you're ready.
Yep, I'm ready. I have the SPC storm reports. Nope, in the scene tab there. Yeah, go ahead and flip my screen share eyeball on.
Okay.
Nope, back to scene 3. Back to scene 3, Caleb. There you go. Now in the source tab, screen share right there. Perfect. So this is your storm reports for the day. So I'm gonna back this out here just a bit. Can you remove my my camera?
Yeah. So Ryan's going to be talking, but you're not going to be able to see him, but that's okay.
There we go. See all those blue little dots there across Ohio? That is from our severe weather this morning into Pennsylvania. That was a line of storms that really started, if you track it all the way back, really started with a complex back in Oklahoma. It kind of skipped through Missouri a little bit, skipped through Illinois, and that really started producing wind damage on the southeast side of Indiana here. We covered it this morning, and that's moved all across Ohio. That's why you saw the enhanced risk earlier in Ohio, and now it's into Pennsylvania, still producing damaging wind gusts above 70 miles per hour along its path. So numerous reports of damage across Ohio and even parts of southeast Indiana. We had 7,000 people out of power this morning from that line of storms, and now that's moved off, and we're dealing with second round here, which is luckily not as potent, but still, just want to show you guys the length of this first line that came through this morning. It really produced a wide swath of damage there across the U.S. So
yeah, it really did. Thanks for sharing that.
Mm-hmm. You can shut my eyeball off.
There we go.
And then turn yours back on.
Oh,
perfect.
And Ryan's back.
Yay!
But currently, no severe weather in the state of Indiana at this time. We do have some strong thunderstorms, though, to talk about. And we'll go ahead and turn our velocities on. They are on here. So here's our gusty winds. Not really a lot in the way of really strong winds being picked up on radar here, which is good. Could have some isolated pockets of wind. See that little green dot right in there associated with your stronger core? Some of your heavier cores, meaning your heavier downpours where you see the pinks, could bring down some stronger winds aloft through a wet microburst, which is just an intense downdraft in a thunderstorm. We call these heavy thunderstorms. We have a lot of moisture to work with. Our precipitable water, our PWAT value is what we call it. How much water holding capacity is there in the atmosphere is actually quite high across central and southern Indiana, which is also why we're seeing these hydrologic issues, these flooding issues across southern Indiana. And because of that reason, when you get these heavy waterlogged thunderstorms, the rain's got to go somewhere. And a lot of times when you get really heavy, it can actually pull some wind down to the ground. We call those sometimes rain bombs. That can be called microbursts. If you get some dry air up there aloft as well, you get something called evaporative cooling, where the dry air evaporates the rain, but as it evaporates, it cools. Kind of the same way when your arm is wet, but you blow air on it, you feel cooler. That's because the water is evaporating and it leaves a cool sensation on your skin. The same thing happens in the atmosphere on a much larger scale, but through that cooling, cold air is dense, so it sinks. So it comes down to the ground in the form of gusty winds. And that's kind of the risk that we have here today in some of our heavier, more waterlogged thunderstorms. But the risk for damaging winds is actually decreasing as we go throughout the evening here and finish out the evening, just because we're losing a lot of our instability and other ingredients that we had earlier today. A lot of our earlier thunderstorms this afternoon stole a lot of those ingredients away from our main show, our line of storms that could have developed and had developed across Illinois, but has been moving into an ever more toxic environment, meaning not as favorable. So that's good news. Yeah, Paoli is okay. You guys are not in a severe thunderstorm warning anymore. Just rain for you guys. And in fact, let me switch my radar back to one screen, and I'll draw a line here. So anybody that is west of this line that I'm about to draw is actually in the clear. So anybody... Whoa, I'm still drawing. There we go. Anybody on this side of the line across western Indiana or west of this yellow line, ignore my little loop-de-loop there, I was still drawing. But let's say 27 to this line to Muncie and then points westward. You guys are actually in the clear. Could have some heavy rain, though, associated with these storms. That is not out of the question, but no severe weather is expected anywhere across western Indiana anymore tonight. There's one area to talk about, though, and that is the risk for heavy rain. That's kind of hard to see there. Let me get a brighter green here for you. Here you go, a little more chartreuse. That's a little better for you. Anywhere within this green circle here, we have some really heavy thunderstorms here that are training, like a freight train where all the cars are in a low. Well, in this case, all the thunderstorms are in a row, and they're moving over the same places again and again and again. This is why we have flash flood warnings in effect over here still from when these thunderstorms were over here, just meandering over the same areas again and again, bringing that torrential rainfall of over an inch an hour in some places, and that leads to hydrologic issues. Where this X is over here in Franklin County, we have a flash flood, or sorry, not a flash flood, a flood advisory for excessive ponding on roadways. A lot of field runoff, ditches are ponding, overflowing on rural roads especially. Could have a lot of excess ponding. Watch out for water on the roadways here this evening, anywhere within this green box. And actually, if you want to get more specific, anywhere within this area here, watch for ponding, as we could have residual ponding over here, ongoing ponding and flash flooding over here, where the heaviest thunderstorms are at this time. It's going to take some time for the soils to absorb all that water, especially since we had some rain already today. Some areas already seeing a half inch, 3/4 of an inch of rain already today, and now we're seeing an additional 1 to 2 inches of rain for some areas. So that could lead to some ponding and some other hydrologic concerns outside of severe weather. To our neighbors to the west, though, severe weather has started to spark here around the Dayton, Ohio area. So if you know any friends or family in Dayton, Ohio, do let them know that severe weather is occurring. We have one cell getting ready to go just south of downtown, starting to get a really nice hail core on it too, coming up to I-75 near the interchange there in downtown Dayton. In fact, let's turn our hail tracker on here just to look at that. Don't need to look at the wind. Not a lot of wind associated with it. But if we look at our hail tracker here, here's our hail core right in here, getting ready to come into downtown. So some quarters are possible, perhaps. Let's turn on our correlation coefficient. Yeah, right in there. Pretty nice. This is what we call a TDSS, which is a scatter spike. A spatter spike, which is a hail core, essentially, is what we see. A spike of hail being picked up on radar. And that's going to move pretty close to Dayton, Ryan. So if you know anybody in Dayton, let them know that they could have some hail moving their way. And that is our neighbors to the east here, getting in on some hail action here late this afternoon. But hail-wise here in Indiana, not a lot of hail. Could have perhaps a stronger cell here outside of Milan and Versailles here, moving towards the Dearborn County area, Aurora, Lawrenceburg. Could have some small hail here. This special weather statement for another half an hour here. Penny-size hail, which is 0.75 diameter, so a 1/4 inch shy of severe criteria, but still large enough stones. Maybe some minor damage to flowers, tree leaves, etc. Some minor foliage damage ongoing as well. But that's the strongest updraft that I see. And as you look here on our updraft tracker, though, you don't see any blips across western Indiana. Your severe risk is done across western Indiana. If you draw a line from right here, I'll include that guy because Randolph County is getting a nice little thunderstorm there, so we'll go around Randolph County. But if you're not in Randolph County and from Newcastle, Muncie points westward, you guys are in the clear over here. You guys can rest easy this evening. Open the windows, enjoy the smell of the rain, the pitter patter of the rain. You guys are in the clear. Ryan, do you have anything else to add there? I can't hear you, Ryan. Your desktop's unmuted, okay. But there you go.
Yeah, it's on my end. Severe watch has been canceled for Bartholomew, Brown, Decatur, Jackson, Jennings, and Lawrence counties. So there is no watches in effect for the Indianapolis CWA.
So that is essentially this whole area right in here in green does not have a watch anymore. And if we make that one screen to make it a little bit easier for you to see, that starts about right here, goes up about right here. This whole area is officially in the clear is what that means. no severe thunderstorm watch is in effect anymore for west central Indiana, southwest Indiana, where we had them earlier. They are keeping an eye on these storms here as they move into Ohio, just for sporadic reports of hail and damaging winds. These are very waterlogged thunderstorms. Won't take much to get a downburst, microburst, isolated downdraft that's capable of producing 60-mile-per-hour winds. It's possible. A lot of these special weather statements are statemented for 50-mile-per-hour winds, which is 8 miles per hour shy of a severe thunderstorm. So 58 is the baseline for a severe thunderstorm, and a lot of these are for 50. So
you want to take my screen share eyeball there on your scene? I have the watch overlay on Omega. There you go. Areas in pink on the map is where that watch is still in effect for. I don't have the exact counties, but Jasper is still included, although you guys don't have a threat past this. Like, there's really no threat going on down here at all. The watch continues, though, from Jasper down to Tell City, up here toward Paoli, Salem, up here toward Madison, Batesville, up here toward Connorsville. That watch is still in effect, although I would assume that these areas, especially further south, will get trimmed any moment at this point.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. There's really no risk above this line anymore. So if you live above or north of this green line, you're in the clear for the evening. There's a few isolated showers right in here, but the cold front, let's change it to blue. Let's just make it official. Your cold front is draped right in here. So this is our handy dandy cold front that's moving through. Got to make it look like a cold front. You got to put the triangles on it, right? Believe it or not, I did pass art class, Ryan. I really did. But this is our cold front right here, and it's moving southeast across the state. So areas on the north side, this cold front is gonna cut off our fuel entirely. Areas north of that cold front, your humidity is gonna drop, your temperature is gonna drop, all your ingredients go away. So if you're north of this green line here, it just went away, but if you're north of this line right here, your severe weather risk is over. So if your county or town is north of that line or west of that line, you're over. You're done. Just some rain, lightning. But if your county is in severe southeast Indiana, severe meaning extreme southeast Indiana, like the last row of counties between Indiana, Kentucky, and Ohio across southeast Indiana, from Louisville, Cincinnati area, if you border the Ohio River, there is a chance of a stronger storm yet tonight. But if you are not in that last row of counties, your threat is over. So for 99% of Indiana, your risk is over for the day. You guys are in the clear. It's just the remaining 1-2% across extreme southeast lower Indiana, which is good news. But we're also getting quite a bit of rain here. Ryan, if you want to pull up the drought monitor real quick for Indiana, we do actually have we don't have a widespread drought in Indiana, but we do have a few areas that are still abnormally dry across west central Indiana. So this rainfall is going to help a little bit. We have 0.1% in a severe drought or a moderate drought that I saw, and that's in west central Indiana, but we were talking a smidgen of the county, like a sliver, that's still in it. For some reason, the Climate Prediction Center didn't take it out. But once that is out, we're officially drought-free. Abnormally dry does not count as a drought, but we are very close to being drought-free, and the rainfall that we are getting here is going to help out a lot, especially going into May here. Looking forward, we're actually trending drier than average here once we get in the second week of May and onward. So this rainfall that we have here is actually going to be quite beneficial to the agricultural industry and our soil moisture profiles as we go into plant 2025 and our farmers and growers continue to plant their soybeans and corn here, and to help finish the wheat out as well. So this rain is beneficial. What's not beneficial is flooding and pounding rain. That is when replants happen. That's when soil compaction happens. It's just bad. No bueno all the way around. But this rain is good rain. This is bad rain. So not all rain is a good thing. To put it lightly. So some rain is bad, but we do have that abnormally dry. Ryan, do you get it pulled up?
Looking for the drought monitor or the hydraulic outlook?
Drought
monitor. Okay.
For Indiana, if you got it, I was just going to show where that abnormally dry risk is here across central Indiana. per the latest monitor. And the new monitor, today is Tuesday, comes out on Thursday. I believe. Thursday around 10 a.m.
Yep, that's where it comes out. I am sharing if you want to take my eyeball.
So there you go. You can see areas in yellow are abnormally dry, but we're technically not drought free because if you look, this is Vermilion County. There's a little sliver of brown that is extremely hard to see. The tall, skinny county there on the left side there. Left, down. Yep. There you go. We can play hot and cold if you want. You're getting warmer. There you go. So that county and Vermilion County has a sliver still in a moderate drought or a D1 drought. Until we get that knocked out of the county, we're still technically have drought in Indiana. But the yellow is abnormally dry, which is a big, really a quite an improvement from where we were last year and last fall, where we had a severe drought in Indiana and even a little bit of an extreme drought briefly entered into the state of Indiana last summer and last fall as well. So our water tables and hydrologic improvement has been greatly increased across the state of Indiana, which is great for planting season here across the state. So that's some good news there. And this rain should help that out here, I think, Ryan. So
I would assume so.
But back to the radar here. We are still watching some special weather statements here in blue. No severe thunderstorm warnings across the state of Indiana. We're going to hang on here until we see this line of storms move into the Cincinnati area in Kentucky before we hop off, just to make sure none of these storms get an attitude and become severe briefly with quarter-size hail or 60-mile-per-hour winds. The last thing I want to do is hop off too early and one of these storms gets an attitude and we have to come back on for 5 minutes. So yeah, I'd rather stay on and finish. Go ahead, Ryan.
Dayton, Ohio viewer here. You want to go over Dayton real quick?
Absolutely, yeah. If you're in Dayton, Ohio, happy to have you here. A lot of kind of a hodgepodge of a mess going on here in Dayton with multiple different storms with 3 severe thunderstorm warnings currently. Go ahead and split my screen here. So downtown Dayton, the worst of it is out of downtown, but it is moving towards the Fairburn area. So here's our hail tracker here. Well, let me get it away from Ryan's head there. There we go. Hang on. There we go. That little spinning circle was annoying me there. So we have 2 hail cores to talk about here if you're in Dayton, Ohio. So downtown Dayton, you just got through the worst of it. Heavy rain, probably some quarter-size hail. Let's actually turn on our hail tracker in the form of what we call correlation coefficient. So here's your hail. Here's downtown Dayton. Here's your hail. Just on the north side of town, north of the river. This is moving northeast of town. This is moving towards Riverside and Fairborn, right in here. This is your hail core right in here, which is right on State Road 4 here, moving towards Fairburn. This is north of 675 and east of 75, moving away from town. But if you're south of town, let's say near Middletown, Lebanon, Harveysburg, could have another storm down here with quarter-size hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds is what this guy is warned for. This warning here is likely going to expire. This is warned for quarter-size hail in 60, but if I am looking at radar, I don't really see much in this guy that screams severe at this point in time. The worst 2 storms are to your south and just exiting downtown Dayton towards Riverside. This storm here is actually using up some ingredients that this guy would otherwise have. And because of that, this guy's a little bit weaker. But your strongest hail core right now is moving in the Riverside and then moving to Fairburn. This storm here, to time it out for you, is moving north and east at 30 miles an hour. So not moving super fast, but it is out of downtown for the worst of the hail. But you won't have to go far to find the hail. Riverside getting some hail right now, right in here. Right where my mouse is circling here. I'll actually draw it out for you. Right in here, which is right in here, is where your hail core is. And this is moving off to the north and east at 30 miles per hour. So that is the going hazards here in Dayton. Some small hail, gusty winds. But outside of this, some heavy rain is going to be moving into town. It's going to be raining for quite a while in Dayton, Ohio, probably the rest of the night, or at least a good portion of the evening, and through probably about maybe 10 o'clock tonight. You're probably getting some moderate rain, some thunder and lightning. But the worst of the severe thunderstorm is east of downtown, moving towards Fairburn. You do have a stronger storm to your southwest. Could have maybe some pea-size hail in it in this core right in here near West Carlton. But approaching 75, but in terms of severe criteria, the second storm is not quite meeting that. We can go ahead and turn our winds on just to see what our velocities are doing here within the storm, and not really seeing too much of a wind threat here. And there you go. They just trimmed the warning box back. You saw it shrink on my screen. So downtown Dayton is no longer included in that severe thunderstorm warning, though the county is included. The polygon is outside of town, but it does include Fairburn. Fairburn and Riverside still have a few minutes left to go. So I hope that answers some questions for you, for our friends in Dayton, while we wait here for these storms to fully exit Indiana. Still got some small hail cores here in Dearborn County, southern Indiana. Ohio counties have been added into a special weather statement now, as well as North Vernon. You guys are still in it for a few more minutes here, but the worst of the hail cores are moving south into Jefferson County. Maybe some pea-size hail, perhaps some gusty winds. Let's see what this is warned for. 1/2 inch and 50. Based on the hail cores here, I'm not sure if we're going to quite reach 1/2 inch. Might be on the bandwagon for maybe some peas there. Not the case in Dearborn. A little bit stronger of a storm here, or two rather. We have two separate updrafts moving into Wilmington, the Greendale area, as well as the Dillsboro area. Sparta is just past you, but we could have maybe some nickel-size hail in there, and this is statemented for penny-size hail. Okay, so just smaller than nickel, 0.75, which is a 1/4 inch shy of severe, and 50-mile-per-hour wind. So a pretty strong thunderstorm there, or pair of storms that are moving towards the Ohio River here in the next few minutes. Ryan, anything you want to add, buddy?
I'm about to eat some food.
So Ryan's about to eat here. Our severe weather risk, if I'm being honest with you, it's almost over here in the state of India. I really don't think we have longer than 20 minutes left on the stream, if I'm being honest with you guys, which is good news. Could have been a lot worse for round two. Round two was more of a conditional risk to begin with. We didn't have a large window to destabilize between round one and round two. If our cold front came through a little later, we had more time to destabilize and get what's called a cap in the atmosphere, which is a thin layer of warm air, which acts like when you shake a soda bottle, but the lid's on it, that potential energy can't go out and form storms until the cap is taken off. I won't do it here for obvious reasons now that I shook it. But until we have a cold front to come through and break that cap, which actually aids in severe weather, you have all the ingredients available for the storms that the cold front was able to fire, which would have been this big batch of rain here. But because we didn't have a cap, storms had no problem getting up and taking advantage of the little bit of ingredients that we had here, and that robbed the severe weather potential away from our main storm complex that moved out of Illinois. So that's a good thing. That's what you wanted to see. That's what we wanted to see. And thankfully that scenario played out for round two, and we didn't have two dangerous squall lines moving across Indiana today. We only had one and a little bit of a second one. So overall, not a bad scenario for round two, other than the hydrologic concerns that I had mentioned previously. Heavy rain. May see additional flood advisories be issued. We still have a flash flood warning issued over here. It's still in effect for another 50 minutes here. The good news is, though, we're on the tail end of the rain here. Rainfall rates are going to start ending here across western Indiana, which is good. That'll help our waters recede, help our ditches drain, and our soils and river basins absorb that water. So really, really good situation here across western Indiana as the rainfall is starting to end or lighten up, or will be ending here over the next hour or so. Well, we do have a couple stronger cores here, and this one's starting to get a little bit of a bow echo to it. Let's go ahead and turn on our velocity here just to look at the winds here. I need to switch radars for that. Here we go. See which one shows it best.
Look at that Bow Echo by Cincinnati.
Yeah. I wish the airport radar was
TCVG.
working.
It is for me.
It's working for you? Oh, there we go.
TCVG.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, there's not-
it didn't
there's not
load
much
there
happening.
for a second. Okay, not a lot. Indianapolis was showing a little bit more of a bow echo here than what the airport is. Not a lot going on in that storm as it moves across the river. Not a lot with these, really, period, other than maybe some small hail associated with it. So that's some good news. But these are really the strongest two storms, or two updrafts left in Indiana, are these two right here. And once these leave Indiana, we'll likely hop off here. Before they do that, though, we are live for every severe thunderstorm warning across the state of Indiana. So before you leave, put in the chat exclamation mark, and then put oh, Ryan, I'm blanking. Exclamation mark. Notify. Exclamation mark, notify, one word. And if you put that in the chat, that'll notify you next time we go live for severe weather here on Facebook or social media platforms. It's not a spam text, not going to send any text or anything like that. It'll send a little pop-up bar on your phone saying that, hey, we're live for severe weather. And it'll let you know that we're live covering severe weather somewhere in the state of Indiana. So it's a good resource to have. If you're on YouTube, you don't have to put in exclamation notify. You can if you want to be alerted for Facebook too, but click that little bell button, top right corner of your screen, and that'll do the same thing. Just have a little slide down tab. No different than getting a Facebook message or a notification or anything like that, just saying, hey, we are live here at IWO and ISCN covering severe weather here. And that's what we pride in here at IWO. We really want to keep you covered and ahead of the storm from the minute the first warning is issued here in Indiana to the last warning is canceled here in Indiana. In this case, they canceled early, which is great. Now we're just down to special weather statements. We do have a strong thunderstorm, though. It is strong, not severe, moving into the Cincinnati area, moving out of the Dearborn area. Going to clip Ohio County here. But that's our mission here, keeping you ahead of the storm from beginning to end. And something cool to note here is that our cold front is actually beating the rain out of Indiana. Isn't that cool? We still have some moisture here on the backside of the storm, but look right here. See that brighter reflectivity? That's your cold front. Your cold front is actually moving faster than the rain's moving out, which is going to help eliminate these ingredients. So here's your cold front right here. You can actually see how it's enhancing the lift, creating some heavier precipitation amounts outside of Indianapolis. So something kind of cool to see there. No winds associated with it. Can't really see anything on velocity for it, but you can see it in the rain. So it is enhancing, squeezing out a little bit of moisture, like wringing a wet rag out after being soaked with water. That's kind of what's happening there. So something kind of cool to see there. But yeah, without further ado, exclamation notify if you want to get notified next time we are live for severe weather. Or it'll also alert you when we do a severe weather briefing as well. It'll notify you that you're live. You know that we're live. You can go back and rewatch the video if you missed it. No big deal. But we want to provide you with that information if we can. If you're on YouTube, hit that little bell button, top right corner of your screen, and that'll alert you when we're live on YouTube as well. So again, thanks for following. It's our pleasure to be able to serve you guys here in Indiana, and we're happy to do it.
Caleb, there's a new statement issued for Cincinnati and also for the extreme southeast corner there of Dearborn and Ohio counties. It's going to be for 40-mile-per-hour winds as well as penny-size hail.
Yep.
So the wind speeds they were at 50, or they were at 60 across the state, then down to 50, now we're down to 40. So overall, a weakening trend here, but penny-size hail is still possible. That's about, I want to say, about 3/4 inch hail. Is that correct?
For a penny is 0.75. Nickel is
Okay,
0.88.
so,
Yep.
Okay, so that is moving in towards Cincinnati. Oh, that storm currently is basically on the border of Ohio, Kentucky, and Indiana. So it's not our concern for too much longer here. It's over the Aurora and Lawrenceburg areas.
Yep. It is statemented for a little bit of Switzerland County too. Northern Switzerland County, right in here is Switzerland County, Ohio County. which always baffled me why they just couldn't make that one county back in the day. Why they split it into two, because it's the smallest counties in Indiana, and it always makes me wonder why there's a line there and why they just make that one county. But that's a debate for another time. But there's probably some history there I don't know about. I'd be intrigued to know about it as to why Ohio County is a thing and Switzerland County just isn't one county or the other way around. But that is just always made me wonder why that's split like that.
Let us know where you guys are watching from in chat.
Yeah.
I see about 175 of you guys in here currently watching. Let us know where you're from in the state of Indiana, or if you're watching from Ohio or Michigan, Illinois, Kentucky. Let us know where you're from, tuning in. We love to interact with you guys and learn where you guys are mostly based out of. So feel free to interact with us here. There's not much going on besides a couple of gusty storms with some small hail falling, so we can kind of relax now. We're about to give the all clear for the entire state of Indiana. We're just going to wait about probably 10 more minutes for these storms clear out into Kentucky and Ohio.
Yep. We just got to get through Ohio and Switzerland counties and the rest of Dearborn, and we'll be in the clear. So if you don't live in Dearborn, Ohio, Switzerland, and maybe a little bit of Jefferson, you guys are in the clear. So this is like 1% of Indiana, if that. So if you don't live in eastern Jefferson, Switzerland, Ohio, or Dearborn counties, you guys are in the all clear officially. Just you might need an umbrella.
In the chat here, we got Batesville, we got Milan, we got Ohio County, Northern Brown County. Welcome in, guys. We go live, as always, for 24/7, 365, no matter what time of day, any day, even Christmas if we have to. We'll be live streaming here, severe coverage across the entire state of Indiana from beginning to end. So feel free, if you haven't already, follow, like, subscribe, no matter what platform you're on. We're new here in Indiana, trying to build our following here. So feel free to spread the word. We are here to stay in bringing you guys coverage of all things severe and tornadoes here in the state of Indiana. So feel free to follow along. Caleb, new severe warning. Surprisingly,
I thought I saw something flash there in my screen.
Quarter size hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. So this is going to be for what appears to be Dearborn, Ohio counties. I'm going to wait for the official wording on this. But
probably for this guy right in here, which is also why we didn't hop off prematurely, because there's always that chance, which this is that chance. But we're also getting close to the airport radar here and some other offices that have some better capabilities of measuring this storm too. So probably have some better confidence from the National Weather Service meteorologists here in issuing that warning. But we're also getting into a pretty populated area too. So a lot of times they're more willing to issue a warning going into a really urban populated center just to get the warning out.
Caleb, the reason they issued this warning is because there's a pocket of damaging wind, looks like just between Pleasant and Friendship, Cross Plains area, 60 to 65 miles per hour at around 600 feet off the airport radar. So that would be why we're getting those that warning in place here. That's going to include places like Pleasant, East Enterprise, Rising Sun, Jacksonville, Wilmington, Indiana, not Ohio, Wilmington, Indiana, Lawrenceburg, Dillsboro, State Route 262, Cofield Corner, Hartford, Milton, Farmers Retreat, all the way up toward the Greendale area, and then also further east into Kentucky and in Ohio, Florence, Independence, Union, Cincinnati, downtown and suburb areas, Norwood, Fort Thomas, and Blue Ash, as well as Coldstream. For some reason, my screen on your end of things is not, it's kind of cropped for some reason. I can't figure out why. We got to figure it out after this.
I'm not sure. We can play around with it here. But right now, the densest pocket of gusty winds here is, and there might be another one here a little bit too. This would be in far eastern Jefferson County. But this one is right on the Ohio-Switzerland County line here, moving into western Ohio County. So we're just a few miles away here from the Ohio River. And this storm, we can see how fast it's moving here. Moving east at 40 miles an hour. So if we go to track this out here, and it's moving east at 40 miles an hour, we'll track it out of the state here. So 40 miles an hour. We have Bear Branch, 5 minutes. Rising Sun, 22 minutes. And then Hamilton, Kentucky, in 28 minutes here. So only about 10-15 minutes here before this storm is in Kentucky. So not too much longer here before this storm is out of the way. Have a few more minutes to go here. But again, severe thunderstorm warning is in effect here for Switzerland County, Ohio County, and extreme southeastern Dearborn County for 53 minutes here. So pretty long warning here, but it'll probably be out of Indiana here before 53 minutes. We'll see it trim back to the Ohio River here, probably here in about 15 minutes or so, as the storm enters or exits Indiana and enters Ohio.
If you want to pop me off your screen, I'm going to eat here real quick.
I was wondering where you went. All right.
If you want to mute me as well, you can.
So we'll go ahead and track this severe thunderstorm warning here until it exits the state. Good news is, though, the wind speed seems to be weakening a little bit, which is good there. Kind of a sporadic downburst, maybe a microburst perhaps, a heavy downdraft with these waterlogged thunderstorms. We talked about how sometimes these thunderstorms get really heavy when they're waterlogged, and that can help pull some winds down to the ground in the form of a downburst, a microburst, and that's really what we probably saw there. It was probably just a microburst or an intense downburst come down. So if you have any damage, drop that in the chat if you live in that portion of Indiana. If you have any damage at all from today, put that in the chat. Let me know. If you have any branches that came down, let me know the diameter, or if they're dead or healthy. That makes a big difference too. 30-mile-per-hour winds could blow some dead branches down, but probably not some live branches down. So knowing if they're dead or alive will tell me their flexibility of the branches and what kind of wind speed it takes to damage those. So do put that in the chat if you guys had any damage. Or if you have a rain gauge out, I'd love to know how much rain you guys got today. Everyone got a little bit different. Parts of northern Indiana didn't see any rain today. I live in northern Indiana, and well, the guys are still in the fields up here. The dust is flying. They haven't left. We hadn't got enough rain to wash the farmers out of the fields yet. They're still planting. So that is not the case across southern Indiana. But up in my neck of the woods in Indiana, around the Fort Wayne area, looking outside, it's pretty dry. We didn't really get a lot of rain up here as we got Indianapolis and points southward. So if you guys have a automated rain gauge or anything like that, I'd love to know how much rain you guys got. Put that in the comments. Let me know. Or if you guys have any questions, put that in the comments as well. You can also do your reporting at iReports or exclamation mark reports. That is our reports tab as well. You guys are welcome to use that. But we also have a new flood advisory to talk about here. This is in effect for 2 hours and 50 minutes. This is for Ripley County, Indiana, until 9:45 p.m. Minor flooding and low-lying and poor drainage areas. 6:32 p.m., so about a little bit ago, radar indicated heavy rain due to thunderstorms. In the advisory area, between an inch and a half of rain has fallen. Additional rainfall amounts of half an inch to an inch are possible. So, again, a flood advisory is different from a flash flood warning. Flash flood warning means we're going to have a rapid rise of moving water. A flood advisory means that ditches are swelling, it's overflowing onto area roadways, excessive ponding. But if you do see any moving water, excessive ponding, turn around, don't drown, don't drive through it. If you can't see the bottom or judge the depth of the water. So we have 3 flood alerts in Indiana. We have a flash flood warning, which is observed, in effect for another 34 minutes here. I'm probably going to let that expire, or maybe transition it to a flood advisory now that the rain is ending over here. We have 1 to our neighboring state in Illinois. Does expire here in 19 minutes. So 2 flood advisories and a flash flood warning here is all that's left. Do have some steady rain, some lightning still showing up here around Indianapolis, Frankwood, Shelbyville. Some heavy moderate rain here, really steady rain. We call this stratiform rain, which is just rain under nimbus, depending on how well you know your clouds. If you know what nimbus is, kind of a flat, uniform, dreary cloud. Typical rain cloud is what's going on, but you can have some lightning within there as well on the backside of these storms. Not uncommon. So this is typical rain here. Our only risk for severe weather is right in here to extreme southeast Indiana. In this case, It is Switzerland County and Ohio County, as well as extreme southeast Dearborn County, Indiana, for a few more minutes yet as the storm exits the state of Indiana. Go ahead and go back to the airport radar here. Let's turn on the velocity here, take a look at it. Maybe a little bit of gusty winds here, but not all that impressive. Not like what we once saw. If I press play here, you're going to see that pocket of bright winds just kind of disappear. You can see it riding the county line here, and then poof, it's gone. So winds are likely weakening here a little bit, but they still could be a little bit stronger than what's depicted on radar here at the surface. Sometimes it's hard to tell that. So we'll be on here for a few more minutes yet to let this warning fully leave Indiana, and then we'll likely be done after that. So getting pretty close here to the end of our stream, which is good. Still have a couple severe thunderstorm warnings also in our neighboring state of Ohio. We have one here near Wilmington, Ohio. This is actually where the National Weather Service's office is in Wilmington. This is ILN here. Our neighbors to the east. So they're getting a gully washer there over the office right now, or will be here in the next few minutes. Dayton, Ohio, you guys are in the clear. Now, officially, I am happy to say that you guys are in the clear in downtown Dayton. Fairbanks, got a few minutes left. Let this warning expire here. As well as this cell up here near Urbana, Mechanicsburg, Ohio. Watch that cell. Could show signs of producing some small hail. In fact, let's look at the hail tracker on that. Yeah, probably producing some hail there outside Springfield, Ohio. So a few scattered hail reports across Ohio, even a few storms up by the Toledo area as well, producing a couple here near the Tiffin area. But here in Indiana, good old Indiana, we have one more severe thunderstorm warning to rid of here first. But I am seeing signs of weakening here with this storm, so that's pretty good news. There's Ryan trying to get back on camera, and there he is. He's back. So we are just letting this warning finish out, but I was telling everybody, Ryan, I really don't see a whole lot on the airport radar anymore associated with the storm. If you let it play out, I don't know if that was maybe a downburst, a microburst, or something like that was caught on radar, but a lot of it was allowed to really just kind of disperse. So which is good news. That's what you want to see. Still have to keep an eye on it here, though, as the storm moves into the Aurora area, Lawrenceburg, Florence, but not really seeing too much in the way of winds, mainly just heavy rain at this point in time.
Yeah, there was a pocket there of some damaging wind, but it looks like as it got closer to the Kentucky border there, it really just kind of spread out. I'm getting 30 to 45 now, so that was a very brief. Actually, latest scan, Caleb, by Rising Sun, really picking back up now, close to 50.
Yeah, I see that.
Plus. I'm seeing 53 at most here. Actually, there's a 55 there mixed in too. So Rising Sun, you guys likely getting some gusty winds right now as we speak along the Kentucky, along the Kentucky border there. This won't last too long. It's moving out into the Kentucky area, so luckily we'll be off here regardless of about probably 15 minutes at most. But in the Rising Sun area, you guys have some gusty winds here to worry about there. Also Bellevue, which is in Ohio, Camp Shore, Buffalo, North Landing, and then eventually Huey's Corners and Union areas in Kentucky.
So this is our last severe thunderstorm warning in the state of Indiana at this time. This is our only one, and our only special weather statement too. We have no more special weather statements in the state of Indiana, just a large blanket of light to steady rainfall across the state. And looking around the region, we're pretty clear behind our cold front here. There is not much left to this cold front here. And what's interesting to note, Ryan, is that our cold front is moving through faster than the rain is moving out. Here's our cold front right here moving into the rain, and you can see how it's enhancing the rainfall a little bit southeast of Indianapolis. A little bit too kind of interesting to see there. You can see that squeezing rag type phenomena there, which is kind of cool to see. So a little bit of moisture pooling there along the cold front.
What's the risk of tornadoes tomorrow? Kyle, we're going to put a forecast out probably later tonight, if not very early tomorrow morning for the forecast tomorrow. There is some concern for severe tomorrow, but it's going to really depend on how it all kind of comes together, kind of like how today was. So we'll have a forecast out right now. I would expect there to be, if there's any severe weather at all in the state, probably a wind and hail event. Caleb, correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I don't really see too much in the way of anything tornadic with this system in particular.
At least at this time. And then we have another potential on Thursday, but we have to get through this system here. We kind of have a frontal boundary. There's a pocket of strong winds there right at the Ohio River.
They actually, oh, never mind. I thought they trimmed it back, but they didn't.
That was just the
My eyes
frame
are
there.
deceiving me.
So rising sun, getting in on some gusty winds there. Rising sun and rising sun only. Getting in on some gusty winds there. Really narrow corridor of winds there crossing the Ohio River at rising sun. But really tomorrow, correct me if I'm wrong, Ryan, really the greatest risk right now that I see is conditional. Not really a high risk would be across mainly southern Indiana.
Yeah, I think both of us have been kind of focused in on today more than we have tomorrow and Thursday, especially. I'm looking at the SPC outlook right now, looking at models. Anywhere really south of Indianapolis again looks to have that greatest threat as of right now for both days, tomorrow and also for the Thursday timeframe. We'll go over the models tonight. The models also will be much better. We'll say more accurate once the system moves out here. They'll clear the way, clear the data for the system coming up. So give us until tonight here. Let us look at models. We had a forecast up at some point for you guys. But yeah, south of Indianapolis tomorrow, would expect there to be at least some risk for damaging winds and perhaps some large hail as well.
Yep, and we'll have all that updated on our pages here later tonight, if not early tomorrow morning, to keep you ahead of the storm too. So we will we'll post that forecast publicly here as soon as we have a time to debrief here after the stream and look over data and see how the data is trending for the next couple of days as well. What's really helpful for forecast models is when you have a system that's ahead of another system. Models do a lot better once you get round one or system one out of the way and let the air clear a little bit. Let the forecast models analyze that data, get new data in. Let samples be taken of the air after our system one, and that really allows a better interpretation of what's going on. So let the forecast models kind of regroup and get a better interpretation and a better feel for the air and what dynamics we're going to have tomorrow. So that'll be analyzed tonight through the forecast models and guidance models.
If you do not live in eastern Dearborn, eastern Ohio, or eastern Switzerland County, you are all clear from severe weather today. If you're sitting here worried about, if Evansville or Indianapolis or Richmond or those areas are going to get hit, they're not. It's just some rain, maybe rumble of thunder back there. But the only severe risk right now is currently pushing across the border in Kentucky. So we're about to give the all clear for everybody in the state momentarily here. But we're just going to stay on here a few more minutes as this warning continues for the eastern part of Dearborn, Ohio, and Switzerland counties in the far southeast corner of the state.
Yep. Areas elsewhere across the state just getting a nice gentle rain. We call this stratiform rain, which if you don't know what that looks like, which it's okay. It's okay if you don't. I will show you what that looks like. Here we go. This is what stratiform rain looks like. It just looks like rain. You have a nice dreary cloud base. This is called nimbus. These clouds that you see are flat bottomed, kind of high up, gray, dreary to the eye, and often appear wet. That is nimbus. It's a low level cloud. Oftentimes follows bigger systems or fronts. And when you see this, it's just plain normal rain. A light, steady, consistent rain. That is what you have here with nimbus, and that is what we have here behind these storms. So after these storms has passed, the rain isn't going to end immediately for most of you. It's exiting the state on the other side across western Indiana, but right now it's still filling in across east central Indiana. Think Indianapolis, Columbus, Bloomington, Hamilton, Richmond, all look like a similar picture here to what's on your screen. That's a nice, light, steady rainfall under nimbus. So that is not severe. That's an open your windows, enjoy the smell of the rain and the pitter patter of the rain on your windows and on your roof. So that is a good way to explain what stratiform rain is, and that's what it looks like in person. So hopefully I can share some tidbits with y'all, learn a little something, and have a good time while keeping everyone safe at the same time. And this storm is almost out of the state entirely.
Yeah, the gust front is completely in Kentucky now, so it's pretty safe to say. I think we're all clear at this point. We just got to wait for NWS to trim this warning back, probably close to the border.
Yeah.
But the worst of it that we see, at least, is across the border in Kentucky, into Boone County to be exact. So.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of wind still trying to wrap up around the Aurora area and the Ohio Dearborn County line there, right at the Ohio River. But right now, pretty much not seeing much on radar. So some strong winds. You can really see the profiles of the gust front here as we approach the radars. I love it when gust fronts are near a radar station. The radar beam here, especially what we call TDRs, our airport radars, the beam is so much lower than the National Weather Service radars. We really get a really good interpretation of what is going on at the ground or just a couple hundred feet above the ground. So what we see on airport radars is most definitely likely occurring at the ground, and you can really see the nose of your gust front here. And even on this shower out ahead of it here, you can see it has a little lone gust front of its own. So something kind of cool to see here. And this is in Kentucky, by the way. We're just waiting on the National Weather Service to trim this warning back to the Ohio River. There you can see it move. Kind of cool. I'll hit play here, and you can really see the animation here of the gust front and get a good feel for it. You can see that wall of wind there move towards the radar and move out of Indiana. So something cool to see there. We're just waiting on Paducah to trim that back.
Louisville went ahead and canceled the watch for all their counties. The only counties included in that watch now are the ones hugging the Ohio and Kentucky borders, Wilmington's CWA. So that'll be likely canceled here momentarily, I'd assume, for the watch.
More than likely, I'd have to assume, yeah. So as soon as this warning is trimmed back to the Ohio line to not include Indiana, we will likely hop off here, and that will likely conclude our severe weather coverage today. So we have a couple more minutes here, but all in all, Ryan, the unofficial all clear, I'm willing to go ahead and say that right now until our warning is trimmed back.
Yeah, I'm ready to say that too. I'm about to put a post out here. I mean, there's one or two cells down here near the East Enterprise, Jacksonville area, but that doesn't look too impressive to me. So
no, they just don't have the dynamics to work with down there, and they'll be over the Ohio River here very, very shortly. Now, what is going on here?
Yeah, I saw that.
A little bit of a cell merger there, I think. Kind of see how it gets absorbed.
Yeah, crossing 71, 75 there, just to the west of Independence. Looks like a little bit of a pocket of damaging winds, maybe a little bit of rotation trying to pick up there. Just to the east of Union. This is Ohio. This is going to be Boone County. Or, sorry, Kentucky. Boone County, Kentucky. Union, Kentucky.
This
So
is
we'll
not in
watch that
Indiana.
here. Yeah.
Now, more in the line of straight line winds, I think. I think it's just more of a radar error there. But nice little pocket of straight line winds there. There's too much of a right edge on it to really say rotation, but it could be. But more of a, I think, a damaging wind protrusion right there. But it did catch my eye nonetheless.
It is also, just for reference, it is also showing up on the ILN radar.
Okay, might be a little bit of rotation there.
Latest scan actually is a little tighter on it. I have a report out of Greensburg, Decatur County. Public is reporting a damaging wind gust. Actually, a damage report.
Actually, they did add tornado possible to that warning in Kentucky.
Okay. There's a tree snapped onto a garage in Greensburg, Decatur County area. That's via public report. I'll get that across there. That warning, Caleb, is now completely out of Indiana. So we are officially all clear. Do we want to stay on and cover this for Kentucky just briefly, or
I kind of want to see what
does?
happens on that little spin up, and then we'll come off here. But the threat for Indiana is over. We're just staying on this. I see something intriguing on radar, and I kind of want to see how it ends. But for right now, for Kentucky, we don't cover Kentucky. We cover Indiana. But the threat is over for Indiana. The all clear has been given. Just watching a little cell that is intriguing just south of the Indiana-Kentucky border here, just south of Cincinnati, coming near Independence. A little bit of a cell merger here. We have a couple different boundaries that meet up and can cause a little bit of rotation at the surface. Kind of the same, similar scenario in how we had a tornado in Princeton, Indiana earlier this year on a day where we didn't have a lot of wind shear, but we had two cells kind of merge and interact with each other. That's kind of what's going on here. We have two cells interacting with each other. They put off different outflow boundaries or downdrafts, and those winds moving in different directions are meeting, and that's creating a little bit of a spin here through what we call a cell merger. And so a little bit of rotation here. 71, 75 here, moving towards the Ricedale area. A little bit of broad rotation here. Right in here. Not really too impressive anymore, Ryan. It's kind of broadened out a little bit, but it is still there nonetheless.
It's a little notch I'm going to keep an eye on, but I think we're good to pop out here, Caleb.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and pop off here. That concludes our severe weather stream for Indiana. So again, thank you for watching it and keeping us here. It's been a privilege to be able to serve you guys here today. Our mission is to cover you from beginning to end. And with that being said, hopefully we don't see you the rest of the night. We don't think we will. The severe weather threat is over for Indiana. We do have additional chances for thunderstorms tomorrow through Thursday. Tomorrow, southern Indiana will have a severe weather outlook, or at least a convective outlook posted later this evening, if not early tomorrow morning, to cover what that will entail. And then we're looking ahead on to Thursday. Our next system moves in on Thursday, bringing thunderstorm chances across the state, as well as warmer temperatures as well. We warm back up again on Thursday, bringing that risk for thunderstorms. Some of those could be strong to maybe severe. We have to look to see what dynamics we have on Thursday to get a better feel for that one. Once we move into next week, though, the second week of May, tomorrow is actually the last day of April before we move into May, believe it or not. So April showers bring May flowers. Well, southern Indiana, you're about to get a heap of a lot of flowers with all the rainfall we have gotten today. But we look to dry out into the second week of May. We have a lot of signals kind of an upcoming pattern change that will allow us to dry out, warm up a little bit, have a nice dry spring warm up here coming up near term for the second week of May. So with that being said, have a great evening, and we'll see you next time. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button on your way out, hit the like button, and thank you guys for following along. It's been a privilege here being able to serve you guys here today. And we'll be live the next time a severe thunderstorm warning or a severe warning of any kind is issued here in Indiana. So with that being said, take care, and we'll see you next time.